Welcome, everyone, to the Commentary Podcast. I am your host, Pat Brennan. Today on the podcast, we are going to be watching The Shining. It was released in 1980. It is written by Stanley Kubrick and Diane Johnson and is directed by Stanley Kubrick. The film stars Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Scatman Crothers, and Danny Lloyd. A family heads to an isolated hotel for the winter where a sinister presence influences the father into violence. At the same time, his psychic son sees horrifying forebodings from both the past and the future. Joining me for this rewatch of The Shining is Raf Stitt. He is the host of the Canon podcast. He was also on this podcast as we rewatched Jurassic Park. So please go back and check out that episode. I will link all of his info in the episode description. So yeah, go check out his podcast and give him a follow. Now I'm going to be watching the 4K copy I have of The Shining, but it is currently available to stream on Max. You can also rent it on Apple for $4 and on Amazon for $4. I say we get things kicked off. We are going to be pressing play on The Shining, and I hope you do as well. In 3, 2, and 1. Warner Brothers. $20 billion in debt now.
I think I'm like a second early.
That's fine. As long as you're not like a minute ahead, like
yeah.
Where are you? Like, what are you watching?
We're watching the same movie?
Yeah. I didn't realize that. Did you ever watch like the Directors Roundtable? It had to have been like 2015 directors. It was like Ridley Scott, Tarantino. I forget who else was on there. Maybe Iñárritu was on there. But like Ridley Scott basically said that these all like a lot of these shots right here are like deleted or like extra scenes from Blade Runner. He just had them.
Oh.
And he was like, Ridley, he's like, do you like, I need like these shots. He's like, yeah, you can use them. Just make sure like you don't get like too close to the car or something. He's like, okay. So like these are all like Blade Runner shots. Like at the very end of Blade Runner.
That's very interesting.
And he said that at the table and everyone was like, oh, I was like, I'm surprised Tarantino didn't know that. Like Tarantino was like flabbergasted. Like yeah. Whenever I think of this movie, have you ever seen like the spoof trailer? Where they make it like kind of like a family like comedy.
No, that's hilarious.
It's on YouTube and like it's him like it'll be like Jack just can't seem to write his book. It's like a voiceover and he's like smiling.
That's hysterical.
And like
those videos are amazing.
It plays like Salisbury Hill over the thing, and at the end it just goes Shining. Like it's just like it's supposed to be like a family like coming of age like family story. And like so like in high school we had like a film class, and like this one kid that was in it like would never watch the movies. And I was like, I don't understand. Why did you just watch the movies? He's like, I don't know, man. I'll just read the Wikipedia on it. I was like, okay, whatever, man. So he like did it on The Shining, like his project. And like he's like, so he was explaining The Shining, and like he was like, I guess that's kind of the Shining plot. And then he's like, okay, here's the trailer for The Shining, and he put that trailer in. That like fake spoof trailer, and we
hysterical.
were all dying in class, and his like face like turned like bright red because he didn't know what was going on. And then it ended, and then the teacher just goes, you didn't watch The Shining, did you? Because at the very end it's playing like Salisbury Hill and it just says Shining. Like, I gotta send it to you. It's so funny.
Good for that dude.
Yeah, good for him. Hey, he probably still got like a C on it because like who cares? Like
you missed out on one of the greatest movies ever.
Yeah, I was like, if I was a teacher, I'd be like, honestly, that's hilarious. I'll at least give you a C because you just did that.
Just for the laughs. C for the laughs. So I feel like it's amazing that this is like literally the first scene because it immediately establishes how disorienting this movie is and like the geography of it with the impossible window.
Yeah, like there's no way light could be coming from there. Like someone like studied the actual like
you like see the layout of
Yeah.
the lobby of the hotel when he's walking in, and there's just no possible way that there would be a window with this kind of light coming in
Yeah.
this room based on like where it stands within the hotel. So like
Yeah.
from the jump, we don't know that we're being like messed with, but our sense of
Mhm.
like geography and space is immediately, like obliterated.
Because if you look right here, like this looks like a hospital ward right now. But
Yeah.
I guess it is like that's their hotel, like that's their house. But like when I had like them pulling up, like it looked like the entire thing was like a castle. So like yeah,
Yeah.
where would that light possibly be coming from? Have you ever
And
seen
it's
the
obviously
documentary Room 237?
I have way too many times, more times than I would like
Yeah.
to admit.
And like there's some interesting ideas in there for sure. And I guess like that the main point of it that's is like the layout of the overlook, how like none of it makes any sense. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, it's like you're right. As soon as you use like that wide lens right there, because the guy who invented Steadicam worked on this. He invented the Steadicam, so they use the Steadicam
Yeah.
right there as soon as he comes in.
This was, I
Um,
think, his second movie that he was using the Steadicam for. The
mhm.
first one being Rocky, but this one sort of like exploded in the way that they were able to use it with like the tracking shots of Danny riding his tricycle, which,
Yeah,
we'll obviously see later.
damn, going from Rocky to The Shining.
Yeah, that's a powerful one too.
I mean, this movie actually didn't do very like it wasn't received critically very well when it came out.
No, this was the first year of the Razzies,
Oh,
and
yeah, didn't he
Shelley
win Best
Duvall,
Director or Worst Director?
um, probably. I don't know who else got nominated, but I know Shelley Duvall got nominated for Worst Actress, which,
Ugh,
you know, to me, I think is pretty upsetting because I think what she's
yeah,
doing in this movie is pretty spectacular.
I think the Razzies they need to like go away. It's like, what's the
Yeah.
point of this? Like, I know you're like making it's like you're not really you're like laughing with them, but sometimes it's like I remember when they nominated like 2 years ago they nominated the girl that was in the Stephen King remake of Firestarter.
Hmm.
And they nominated her for like worst actress, and she's like 12. And
Yeah,
then they had to
it's
like
kind of mean.
issue a statement like we so insensitive of us. It's like, yeah, man, like you shouldn't do that. I mean, pretty iconic of Sandra Bullock though, accepting the Razzie for worst actress for All About Steve, and then immediately winning the best actress Oscar the next night for The Blind Side. She like went to the Razzie Awards and accepted the award, like,
That's
and then she won best
hilarious.
actress the next day. Which I mean, I
Absolutely
love
amazing.
Sandra Bullock, but Blind Side is that's another issue. But
Yeah, yeah. There.
especially now, everything that's come out about The Blind Side, you're like, oh, this is just a fictional story. Like,
Yeah, I don't get me started on The Blind Side. I could spend the rest of The Shining talking about The Blind Side, which is wild considering The Shining is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And I'll probably mention it multiple times throughout this recording, but Kubrick to me is the gold standard
the
for
pinnacle. Yeah.
directing. And this movie, this Space Odyssey and Doctor Strangelove on any
Mm,
given day, one of those I will consider one of those movies to be my favorite movie of all time. It just depends on
yeah.
like the mood I'm in and which one I've seen most recently or was like thinking about most recently. So,
Hmm.
for the next couple of weeks, couple of months, The Shining will probably sit atop my favorite movies of all time list.
Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite Kubrick because I think it's the first one I saw. 'Cause I remember I
It,
watched 2001: A Space Odyssey. I think it was in high school. And we were like on demand, like Comcast on demand or whatever. I don't know what
mhm.
I was in like it was like HBO and I was scrolling into 2001: A Space Odyssey and I was like, oh, I've heard this is like because I was like getting like more into film and I was like, I'll watch
Mhm.
this. I remember watching it and then being like, what the fuck did I just watch? None of that made any sense. Like,
Yeah,
but I was like
that's
I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then like 30 minutes later, I was like, I'm watching that again. And I just sat and watched it again, and I was like, "Holy shit, that movie was fucking good." I still don't know what it's about, but that was great. Like,
It's amazing. I mean, that movie is a movie that's very special to me. I think that this
yeah,
movie
I
is a
mean,
little bit more accessible, even though
yeah,
I
for
think
sure for a modern audience. Yeah.
it is in many ways sort of about similar things to what Space Odyssey is about and what, Barry Lyndon is about and what Doctor
Hmm.
Strangelove is about and what Eyes Wide Shut is about. I think there's a very obvious through line between like all of Kubrick's work that is sort of like poo-pooing the like ruling or power holding class or whatever and
Hmm.
showing that they're all like massive idiots and
Yeah.
how that like trickles down to the rest of us.
Hmm.
It's kind of a stretch for like some movies to make that argument. Like within this movie, it's probably more of a stretch than it is in like Doctor Strangelove, where it's extremely apparent. But I think that that is
Yeah.
very much so like something that he was consistently, like curious about throughout his
Hmm.
filmography,
There's
for
a little bit of like
sure.
foreshadowing here, like the picture to the left of his head,
Oh
like
yeah.
an old ballroom photo. Obviously, not the one
Ye-
you see at the very end. Spoiler for people watching. I'm sure you've seen The Shining, but
Yeah, this would be an interesting show to be listening to if this is your first time watching The Shining. That would
yeah,
be a very curious way to first come to this movie, but it would still
watch
be
it for
dope.
the first time. Yeah.
If that's what you're doing, if that's your choice, hell yeah.
That like entire the way that conversation was edited reminded me very much of how the Coen brothers edit their like how they edit their conversations.
How so?
Like it's I don't know how I think I talked about it when I did the Raising Arizona episode. I was like,
Hmm.
talking to my cousin was on. I was like explaining it to him. I was like, I don't know how to explain it, but like the way they edit conversations just has a different feel than anyone ever edits conversations. Like they get room noise down so easily, and I don't know how to explain it. Like it looks like they edit this like so easily, and the conversation just
Interesting.
flows so easily. And that entire conversation in that office just reminded me of the Coen brothers, like just the way it was edited. I don't know. It's like
Hmm.
really hard to explain, and I'm probably like sounding like an idiot. And people are like, "What are you talking about?" Like, but it's like they're really
I
good with room tone. Like you're really good
no,
with room tone.
that totally makes sense. I haven't seen a Coen Brothers movie in a while, so
Yeah, just
I
the
would,
way they
yeah,
edit conversations. It's just it's so like it's just seamless. Like their editing is
yeah.
just insane.
I would love to rewatch some of their or like one of their movies and then like with like coming to it with what you're saying and like
Hmm.
thinking about that conversation specifically that we just
Yeah,
watched.
like True Grit does it really well.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in years.
Raising Arizona did it really well. It just seems like it's so like calm. It's like very calm editing. Like I don't know, like it's
Hmm.
really weird to explain. But like I can tell, like if I'm watching a movie, obviously I've seen like every Coen Brothers movie. But like if I was watching it, I could be like, yeah, this was edited by the Coen Brothers. I can just tell because they edit their own stuff. But I actually think Raising
Hmm.
Arizona was edited by someone else, but it has the same feel.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting stuff. This going back to like this movie and Kubrick's filmography, I also feel like this is the most memeable, which is like part of what makes it more accessible to
Hmm.
like a general audience or like a movie watching audience that isn't maybe as like plugged in as like movie freaks like you and me.
Yeah.
There are a lot of like images and moments from this movie that exist within pop culture in ways that other Kubrick movies don't.
Yeah. Like Jack like throwing the plates everywhere. Like everyone uses that gif
Yeah.
whenever like even for sports, like I don't know, like Phillies lose to Mets, and you just see under that it's just that him throwing the plates everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, it sucks that
R.I.P.
Shelley
to a
Duvall.
queen.
I know
Yeah.
got a Razzie nom. Like, what do you? Razzie should always be like everyone should always bring that up every year in the Razzies. Put their nominees out. Like, remember they nominated Shelley Duvall to Stanley Kubrick for worst director and worst actress. I'm sure The
Yeah.
Shining was
Just
nominated for worst picture.
Probably. It's so silly. I mean, you can get into that with just like award shows in general, and especially with like the turnaround time that we just like don't have the space to like properly sit with movies or think about them and their impact and like what it is that they're doing. So
Hmm.
I'm sure it was easy in 1980 to watch something like The Shining, and especially when you're like thinking about other movies that are coming out at the time and like the state of the industry and thinking about like what this movie was doing versus what was sort of standard back then, and being like, oh, this is
Yeah.
brushing up against what we know to be good in cinema, therefore it must be bad. And then
Hmm.
now with the hindsight of, you know, what is it, 40 years, we can understand like how amazing Shelley Duvall's performance is. Um,
Yeah.
Especially when we know like all of the background about how much she was like tormented behind the scenes and like treated not even poorly, like she was like straight up like emotionally abused on the set of this
Hmm.
movie. And obviously that shows in her performance, and it like makes the performance so gives it like so much more depth. But you just don't know that when you're judging a movie within 5 months of it coming out and then giving it
Hmm.
awards, whether it be Oscars or Razzies.
Yeah. I think because I was actually going to bring that up too, of how she was like tormented. I think she may have said that that was exaggerated and that she actually
Hmm.
loves Stanley Kubrick, but I don't know. I could see it going both ways. I probably would take, I mean, I guess in the behind the scenes, you can kind of see it. So it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, Stanley was really nice to her. Some of this behind the scenes, like the making of, he's like, come on,
Hmm.
Shelly. Like he kind of yelling at her. It's like, yeah, I
Hmm.
can see it comes off that way, but I could be completely wrong. But I thought she had said that, yeah, like means like we did have a little like moments on set, but like I still love Stanley. Like I don't, he didn't like ruin my life because of that. And actually was just
Interesting.
looking, the Razzies rescinded her nomination in 2022. But then they left Stanley's because it says that he still tormented her on the set, so we're leaving his. It's like okay,
Okay.
like,
Yeah. There is
uh,
also just the whole notion of like Stanley Kubrick being in ways a perfectionist and,
mhm.
doing like 8,000 takes for every scene. But
Yeah,
I think with that, and part of like why I love him so much is it sort of like it takes down actors and actresses. It like takes them down a
yeah,
peg in that so much of like modern filmmaking is centered around movie stardom, and like we only like know movies to be good because of acting performances, when like really there's so much
mhm.
more that goes into it. And he just like he treated them as like any other tool of filmmaking, like which is kind of rude
Yeah,
because like they are people, and like
yeah,
very crucial parts of making a movie. But like to him they were just like, okay, no, I need this actor to say the line the way that I need it to make the movie that I want to make, the same way that like I need that chair in the corner to look a certain way because that's the kind of movie that I want to make. And like all of those things are sort of like on the same plane, which now that I'm saying it out loud is kind of it sounds kind of mean, but screw
No,
the
you're right. I
celebrities.
feel like Ben Fincher just became like a modern day Kubrick and the amount of takes and perfectionist he became.
Yeah. It's
Because I
also
was
like
like,
you like
it's almost like you're treating them like cattle. Like, isn't that what? That's like Hitchcock. He's like, yeah, I treat my actors like cattle. Like, you're just here for my job. Essentially, is what he says.
yeah. It's
Which
like
you're
the
like,
ultimate form
Jesus.
of like auteur filmmaking,
Yeah,
where it's like just like a singular vision of the director and no one else
yeah,
matters. You're
yeah.
just there.
Basically,
Everyone and everything is there to serve the director's vision.
yeah. Yeah, it's like people they consider the master as like Kubrick, like Hitchcock. They have their reputation of treating their actors not very well, and it comes off great when you're watching it. But I'm sure like Shelley Duvall probably did have some problems after have been like just traumatized, like thinking about The Shining, and then
Yeah.
you get the reception of the critics being like, Shelley Duvall's awful in this, and it's like she's actually fantastic in this. But and
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone's done like a 180 on Shelley Duvall now or 360 on that. But yeah, it's a lot of people think that like I know Hollywood's really bad now, but back in the day, like Hollywood was pretty really rough, especially obviously for women, but
Hmm.
like the
Yeah.
history of Hollywood is not great. And rightfully so, they be criticize them for how they treat people and especially women.
Yeah. Which is interesting because like that's like kind of in ways what this movie is about. Not like Hollywood
Mhm.
specifically, but just like the patriarchy sort of like being terrible to women and children
Yeah.
for like just the name of like kind of nothing. You know, like,
Mhm.
oh, I have to write my book, so like it's okay if I'm, a murderous monster to
Yeah.
to my wife and
Our entire
child.
my family, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
They're only
justified.
there
I'm
to
a
serve.
writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Stephen
Amazing
King hates this
fading.
movie. So
Yeah, he does because it like strays pretty far from the book.
yeah, it's like nothing like the book apparently. I've never read the book actually. I have it. I just haven't read it yet.
I'm not a big King guy, you know?
He's a great like dialogue writer, I'll say. I'm sure I'll probably get
Yeah.
criticized for that, but I think he's a pretty damn good like keeping you engaged. Like he's not going
Cocaine
to use
man.
like yeah, he's not going to use like really like I guess looking up at this like what does this word mean? Like thesaurus. Like, yeah, look up the thesaurus, but I mean some of his books are really long, but you're pretty engaged the entire time.
Do
Yeah,
we
he's
know
not
if
very funny.
Tarantino was a cocaine abuser?
I think he still is. Like let's be
Okay. That's like I'm just thinking of like who is considered like who we like consider to be like the great writers of our time. And it's like
yeah,
Stephen King, Sorkin, Tarantino, and it's like what do they all have in common? Cocaine.
cocaine.
Not I am in no way endorsing abusing cocaine for people who have aspirations of being a great writer, but the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, that's
I'm
why a
sure
lot of
there are many.
writers are alcoholics too, because that's just how they get the information out.
Yeah. What's the Hemingway quote? Write drunk, edit sober.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I watched like the Ken Burns like Hemingway doc that he made. It was like a two-part
Hmm.
thing. And basically I think they had interviews of like his friends and they'd be like, "Yeah, I would read his stuff when he was drunk and it's like the most insane like things you'll ever read, but you're like this is incredible." And he's just like blacked out drunk, like typing on a typewriter. Like
Again, in no way endorsing like
yeah, no
rampant
way of
substance
endorsing
abuse.
alcoholism. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I would assume that all of those people were great writers before their substance abuse. You
That
know,
push in, zoom in really fast.
dude, I this is one of my favorite movies of all time, but I'm also such a wimp when it comes to scary movies, and this movie scares the bejesus out of me. Like I'm not gonna sleep tonight after watching this.
Come and play with us, Danny.
Fun fact, if anyone is interested out there and wants to see it, my ex-girlfriend and I were those twins for Halloween a few years ago. Very funny couple's costume.
Yeah, that's great.
Seeing a 6'3" black dude in a in
Dude,
a
you
blue
just keep
dress.
saying you had to find someone named Danny that night and be like, "Come and play with us, Danny."
Yeah, we were at a party and we were like standing at the end of the hallway
Yeah, you guys are just
and
in the back,
telling
just
people
not
to
saying
come play with
anything.
us.
You're
Yeah.
here in the bathroom hallway, just
So terrible. Desperately looking for a room 237 in the
yeah.
apartment building that we were in,
Oh,
just like
that's
really trying
great.
to torment people.
I love how he hits the springs and says "cozy."
Yeah. Dude, Jack,
Jackman,
his performance in this is amazing. It's also
insane.
really interesting to think that he's the really like the only like A-list celeb that Kubrick ever worked with. I guess you could say Douglas in Spartacus and Paths of Glory, but
Yeah, Douglas. George C. Scott was pretty big. George C. Scott in Doctor Strangelove is incredible.
he's incredible. I mean, Sellers
Incredible.
too, but I
Peter
think
Sellers was big.
I mean for the most
Uh,
part, it's he's taking a lot
yeah,
of
I think. people like nowadays, like they don't really know. Like if you get like younger film people, they don't probably really know who Peter Sellers is or George C. Scott, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
But they know who
I
Jack
would still
Nicholson
argue
is.
that Jack Nicholson in 1980 was more famous than any of those other
Oh, for
great
100%.
actors
Yeah.
were, in their time, as
He
great as
was
all
like
of them are.
Marlon Brando status. Like people knew who Jack Nicholson was.
Yeah, right. He's coming off Chinatown, Cuckoo's Nest. Like he's
Yeah.
coming off like insane runs.
Oscar,
One of
yeah.
the most
Insane runs.
famous. He's, courtside at Lakers games at this point. Like he's one of the most famous, prolific actors in
Yeah.
the world at this time. Like truly, like true A-list, A-list. And it is interesting to see someone like him in a Stanley Kubrick movie.
Hmm. Yeah, they say back in the day, he used to throw some pretty raging parties.
Yeah, speaking of cocaine and alcohol.
Not really a fun fact, but the whole um I'll say it's a fact. The whole what's this called? I'm drawing a blank now because I don't think
The
things on the spot.
ballroom
No, it's
or
about
no?
Jack Nicholson's parties. Um, I am drawing a blank.
Was there like a
I'm
rumor
like
or
a
something about some of
worst.
them?
Um, the Roman Polanski incident, I believe, happened at a Jack Nicholson party.
Well, that's not good.
Um, yeah.
We're really
So
covering all the taboo
I
bases
could be.
today, huh?
Yeah. Um, yeah, we're digging into Hollywood right now. I'm gonna get flagged on like every outlet. This is all lies.
Yeah,
I am in no way saying that Jack Nicholson knew it was happening. I'm just saying I believe it happened at one of those parties.
that's
Because
fair.
Jack Nicholson was known to be like a lot of people that knew Jack Nicholson are like, he's not coming to you. You go to his house. Like even Kubrick
Yeah.
is going to his house. Like he's going to his house. Like
Oh
because
man, I
Jack
cannot
just lived
imagine
at the
Kubrick
top
at
of.
one of those like
I think
debaucherous
Jack just like
parties.
lived at the top of like Mulholland Drive, and like he's like, yeah, you come to me. I'll let you in. I'm not gonna go down there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I've always wanted to like going to like a 70s like Hollywood party like that and just like looking around the room like, bro, like fucking like Paul Newman's standing over there. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus, Jack Nicholson's over there. Marlon Brando's over there. Like, what the shit?
All doing God knows what,
I want to drink beers with Paul Newman.
Yeah. Paul Newman's a beer guy. What do you think Brando is? Martini
Brando's definitely like, yeah, I would say like a
or like a
martini.
Negroni?
He probably likes a tequila in his drink.
Yeah, I can
Nicholson
see
is
it.
definitely I can see like a whiskey,
Oh yeah, I was
dark
thinking he's like an
liquor.
old fashioned guy.
Yeah, dark liquor guy. See, we're really dissecting Hollywood now.
Yeah. Come
I don't
for
think I
breakdowns of
think
scenes in The Shining. Stay for the breakdowns of Hollywood parties in the late 70s.
I don't think Kubrick went to any of the parties, but I think Kubrick was probably like, nah, I'm good, man. Like,
Yeah. I mean, he was living in London at this
he lives in
point,
London, and
so
yeah,
he wasn't really
which
a
is funny
Hollywood
because
guy.
people think he's British. Stanley Kubrick was American. Like he was
No,
born
yeah,
in
he's
New
like
York.
born in New York. Yeah, I think born in the Bronx.
Yeah, this
Oh
is like
man.
Lord of the Rings when they see Galadriel.
What's his last name? Halloran? Dick Halloran?
Everyone put on the spot. Yeah, to Caloran. Scatman
He's
Crothers.
Scatman Crothers. He's an amazing character. Well, obviously, I'll save the rest of my thoughts on him for later, but he's a very, very, very interesting character and figure within this movie and also like Kubrick's filmography in general, and also like the horror genre as a whole. Um,
Yeah.
that's what we call a tease in the podcasting business.
I like that the Danny's wearing a Flyers jacket. It's obviously not a Philadelphia Flyers jacket, but I'm going to believe it is a Philadelphia Flyers jacket. He is
Yeah,
a Flyers fan.
that's canon.
And I think he had a lot. I've never read the book, but I think in the book he is a lot like bigger character.
The
Um,
Dick Hallorann character.
yeah, I think he's a lot bigger character.
Yeah,
Yeah, this Steadicam work is like perfection.
it's amazing. The just like the camera work, the editing, the dissolves or fade ins and fade outs, whatever you want to
Hmm.
call them. The editing, I don't know if I mentioned that already, but all of that stuff is absolutely spectacular within this movie, and very much so all points towards whatever, sort of like singular or multi-layered, multifaceted sort of like reading of the movie you want to have.
Hmm.
I think that's the cool thing about that Room 237 documentary is that it's really just about it's taking this movie and it's saying like film criticism and analysis can be like so many different things to so many different people.
Hmm.
We can all watch the same thing and we can all take away, 18 million different readings of
Yeah.
what it is that we're watching. And like in many ways, most, if not all of those readings are extremely valid.
Hmm.
As long as you're like willing to point to the specifics that,
Yeah.
um, sort of are talking about that.
And that's like with this podcast too. Like I could 2 years from now we can do The Shining again and like do it with someone else, and it's a completely different conversation. Like that you're watching and how they view the movie, or we're
Hmm.
watching a different movie that we've already done. Like that's the beauty of, like you said, people see things differently. Like people could say like, oh, this is about, because like the part of the room 237 was like it was because they built the hotel in Indian Burial Ground, and like this is
Hmm.
their the repercussions for doing that. It's like an interesting way to analyze it. I don't know if like I personally probably wouldn't say like, because if you like they show like a bunch of like um stuff in the background. Um
Hmm.
but yeah,
Yeah, like
it's
stuff like hanging on the walls, like decorations
yeah.
and
Hmm.
whatnot. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I was getting at with like the Dick character is that if you're
Yeah.
just like thinking about like Kubrick and like the racial politics of his movies, or you don't even have to say racial
Mhm.
politics. You can just say like the racial aspects of his movies and like where this Dick Hallorann character fits into all of that. Like that's super interesting, and it's not necessarily going to be the major takeaway for most people watching The Shining, but like
Mhm.
to me, that's like very much so something that's there.
Yeah.
Or the reading of it being about, how awful the patriarchy is. Like
Hmm.
that reading is like certainly there for a lot of people. And then for other people, you're just gonna be like, wow, this is just like a straight up like spooky ass ghost story.
Yeah. They're just like, this movie's scary. They're like, yeah, this movie's scary. Why were there little
Yeah.
girls over there? Like, what are
Yeah.
the twins doing?
Twins at the end of a hallway. Terrifying. No
Yeah,
one
it's like
likes
that's
that.
gonna. I'd be like, that's gonna be a note from me. I'm gonna turn this little tricycle around. 'Cause, like,
Yeah.
that scene always reminds me of Twister when they go to the drive-in, because I had not seen The Shining at that point,
Hmm.
but and in Twister they're watching The Shining at the drive-through. So whenever I see that scene, because they play that scene in Twister, I'm like, oh, I'm watching Twister now.
Of him riding around on the
On the
tricycle.
bicycle, and he comes around the corner, and that's when you see like the
Oh,
twins. Yeah, it's in Twister, which also doesn't make any sense because in Twister, like I'm really analyzing Twister because it's like they'll have that scene, and then like 20 minutes later or like 10 minutes later in Twister, it's him already chopping down the door, and you're like, that's not possible. This is like an hour later. Like
continuity error.
yeah, me being so like annoying. It's not possible. You wouldn't. They would have had to have been there for another hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like,
That's very what's the YouTube page? Like Cinema Sins or whatever.
yeah, like continuity
Everything
errors
wrong.
or goofs. Yeah,
Everything
or
wrong
goofs.
with blank movie in 20 minutes.
Yeah. then you go to IMDb, like Goofs. It's like, yeah, I mean, every movie has something in it. Like that's what it was like. People are like, there's no such thing as a perfect movie. It's like, I mean, yeah, if you look at it that way, like if you're gonna analyze movies that way, that's kind of annoying. Like,
Yeah, I mean, if you're
well,
just gonna be like a
right.
continuity pervert, then like
Yeah,
maybe
like
movies aren't for you. Maybe you don't actually
yeah.
like movies.
Yeah, it's like in Gladiator, like the "Are you not entertained" scene when it cuts to the wide, you can just see the cameraman guy standing there with his jeans on, but it's like, it's not gonna ruin the movie for me,
Yeah,
like,
I actually never
because it's
knew
for
that
a
about
second.
Gladiator.
Oh, yeah, when it cuts to the wide, look to the left, the guy's just leaning, like, on the there's 2 guys, one's the camera op, the other guy's just leaning to the side. He's got a
That's
white t-shirt and
amazing.
jeans on. But it's like, if you, like because in the editing process, like, you'll have that shot, and, like, you'll see it, and you'll be like, "I mean, this is on TV or on the screen for a second and a half."
Hmm.
I mean, if your eye goes there, you might see it, but your eye's gonna go to the center of the screen. The more
Yeah.
you watch this movie, you're gonna see the continuity errors.
Because you're just trying to look for more,
Yeah.
details or whatever.
But I feel like with this movie, it could work because, like, this hotel doesn't make any sense. Like, I still don't know, like, every
Yeah.
time it feels like you're in a new hallway every time it cuts to anywhere they are. You're in
Well,
a
that's
new
one of
like
the beautiful things about these Danny tricycle scenes
mhm,
is, and like what you're able to do with the the steady cam is in following him, you are getting a layout of the hotel,
mhm.
but it is also telling you in a very discreet way that said layout of said hotel makes absolutely no sense. And you
Literally
might
no
not
sense.
you don't like register it consciously, but you realize subconsciously that like something doesn't quite add up.
Mhm,
Um, and then also with these tracking shots, it like kind of sets up the sort of like it sets up like a new grammar of horror movies where you do this tracking and there's like always the threat of something like lurking behind every corner,
mhm.
which then becomes very terrifying. And even if you're tracking in a scene that doesn't end in like a jump scare or, creepy demonic twins at the end of the hallway, you're still on the edge of your seat while you're watching it
Oh,
because you're
yeah.
like, what the hell is going on? And I feel like a lot of that is like from this movie, which is really cool
Mhm,
when you get to like watch a movie and be like, oh, that's where that thing comes from. Like we're literally
mhm,
like reinventing the language of cinema in not in real time, but in a particular film.
mhm. I know whenever I see that first tricycle scene, I'm always like, "Oh, wait, is it already right here?" Like, every time I
Yeah.
watch it, and I know it's not right there, but my mind goes to, "Oh, is it right here already?" Because 'Cause you've already
Yeah.
seen the twins. I actually like this scene a lot because he's actually really nice to her, but you're looking at it through a mirror.
Mm,
Like, it's not the camera's not actually you're shooting him through the mirror, so it's like he's actually nice to her right here,
hmm.
but it's
But it's
not
not
like
actually what we're, yeah.
it's not actually like a real feeling for yeah, it's like the audience, like it's like not like a real feeling, I would say, because like he's like
Yeah.
so nice to her right there, but you're shooting it through the mirror.
It's like an unreality of their
Yeah,
world that we're
of
watching.
like it's like what she wants to happen, of how they
Mm.
start that. It's like it's pretty good.
It also sets up the mirror as like a tool to use
Mhm,
later in the movie.
mhm.
It's also a brilliant shot when you like it first is just him sleeping and then it zooms out and you realize you're looking at a mirror.
Yeah,
Damn, Stanley.
and like when and then when you cut to him, like, right there, he's kinda like his tone changes a little bit. He's like
Hmm.
ever looking around every corner, and he's like, "Ooh," like he's like starting to get a little more like creepy. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird. You can like you said, every time you watch this movie, you can analyze this. Like,
Yeah. Well, there's like also the theory that he's kind of a awful person from the jump, and it's not necessarily the haunting within the hotel that drives him crazy. He just like
mhm,
uses that as an excuse to be the most awful version of himself, which,
mhm,
you know, some would argue is there from the jump.
yeah, like just from that car ride interaction. Well, because in the opening scene of with Shelley Duvall and Danny, they mentioned that he's abusive.
Hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
like you already know, like he's not
That's
a
like a
nice
big
guy.
storyline in
Yeah.
the or big part of the novel version is
Hmm.
him like overcoming his alcoholism and what it means for his relationship with Danny, as
Yeah.
opposed to, it just being like a minor part of this movie.
Hmm.
But that's Kubrick, man. He's gonna take your
Yeah.
source material and just like use it to make whatever story it is that he wants to tell. Um, he wasn't interested in like servicing Stephen King fans or whatever.
Yeah.
There's no fan service in the Stanley Kubrick movie.
Yeah. He's like, I'll take the basic plot of this and I'm gonna make it my own. I mean, here's
Yeah.
your hotel right here, around every corner. You don't know where the hell you are.
Yeah, right. It's a maze.
Contrast to another maze inside the hotel. A great toss. I definitely would have thrown it to the left and like hit the wall immediately. I still have no idea how. I've watched the behind the scenes of this. I still don't understand how he did this. This shot right here
This shot, yeah, this shot's pretty
of like
nuts.
them walking in the maze, but it's like this, but them in the maze. It's like
Yeah, it's
this
crazy.
this one.
'Cause it's
It's
like
like it's so good.
I don't know what kind of special effects you're using at that point. Is this like some sort of like animation? It's clearly not a real shot. Like you're not using
It's like
like
a matte
a drone
painting.
shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like I wonder if it's like a
Kubrick was a
matte painting.
maniac.
Yeah, with like a helicopter shot that you just took a little part of. Like, yeah, I don't know how they did this. But then you go, it's like him watching them from the maze. It's like he can see them in the maze.
Hmm.
What the fuck is going on here?
Dude, I love that the title cards also, for me, are amazing in terms of building that sense of disorientation because there's no
Mm-hmm.
rhyme or reason to them whatsoever. Right? The first one was
Like
the
Tuesday.
interview, and then the next one was 1 month later, and now it's Tuesday. And we're like, what does that mean? What
Yeah.
Tuesday? Tuesday when? I have no frame of reference. Where am I?
Yeah.
When am I?
This
So
is a month later on a Tuesday.
yeah.
Like,
Okay, a month later from the interview. I don't know when the interview was. What does any of this mean? Stanley, what are you doing?
damn, that's a lot of fruit salad. It's gonna get soggy.
I don't think I've ever had fruit salad.
It's just a bunch of fruit mixed together. They call it a fruit salad.
There we go. Oh no, I'm thinking of fruit cake. I have fruit salad. Is like
Yeah.
is fruit salad like a fruit bowl or something?
It's just like a bunch of fruit in a bowl, but it's like the fruit's like wet. I
Yeah,
don't know how to. Yeah. It's not. I'm not gonna go out of my way to get it, but if it's at like a party, yeah, sure, I'll have some.
you'll have some.
Yeah. It's something like, yeah, I'm not gonna go out of my way to get it.
Is this where he sees the twins?
No, I think this is where he sees the room.
Oof. Ugh.
237. And it's great that it's just like room number 237. It's not like it's like room number 237.
Such a
Like,
random grouping of
why is it this
numbers.
room? Why is it this room? And now if you mention like any film person like room 237, they know exactly you're talking about The Shining.
Hmm. Dude, I love in Toy Story, the neighbor Sid, the
It has the
carpets in
same
his
carpet.
house. It's the
Yeah.
same carpet as
The
this.
Shining carpet.
Just like
You know, I love
why? I mean, I get
yeah.
it, but also like hilarious thing to include in a children's animated
Shining
movie.
reference.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
Shining reference.
let's just reference one of the most horrifying movies of all time.
I love obviously as a kid you never know, but in Toy Story, like when he's in Sid's house and he finds Buzz and
Oof.
Buzz is like he's like drunk. He's
Yeah.
like Mrs. Nesbit. He's like I'm Mrs. Nesbit. So you didn't realize that he's supposed to be like
He's
wasted.
wasted.
Like,
Yeah. We wasted from like tea time.
yeah.
Oof.
Don't go in
Dude, this
that
movie
room.
movie really does freak me out. It's such a hard thing when one of your favorite movies of all time is also a movie that makes it difficult to sleep at night.
Hmm. But it's like it's three people in this massive hotel with these massive like this essentially common area. one person sitting there just typing away. Then obviously you realize what he's typing later in the movie, just the same thing over
Hmm.
and over again.
So I think in this scene, the the editing during the conversation is really, really, really interesting and builds on that disorientation. And like
Mm-hmm.
once it starts cutting in um to the two of them, like that's not how you edit together a conversation. Like the two of them are very much so not on the same page. Not like your
Yeah.
standard over the shoulder. It is a shot reverse shot, but like not a standard over the shoulder. Like
Yeah.
she's all
Because he like
alone, he's
close
all
up
alone.
on her. Yeah. She's way more close up because he's trying to be like more intimate with him, and he's just distant. The elevator in the back, the typewriter stuff in front of him.
Yeah.
He does not give a shit what's happening right now.
She's like perfectly center frame.
Yeah.
It's two people who are, for lack of a better pun,
That
on
look
two
right
different
there of
pages.
her, that look of his face just there as she said that, just just disgust and disdain for her, like, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
She's like being extremely nice and he's just being
Yeah.
brutal to her
She's,
for no
like,
reason.
so nice in this movie. She's, like, the nicest person. Yeah, Jack is crazy in this. I
he's
think he
he's
was, like,
great.
fine on I think he was, like, fine on set, though. I think he had some problems with Stanley too.
Yeah. I
'Cause
I
I
think
think it was
the
just, like,
famous
the amount of takes and stuff, I think he just had a lot of problems with Stanley with.
yeah. I mean, if you're someone of his caliber, you're right, you're sort of used to a set kind of revolving around you
You.
and your stardom
Yeah.
and your screen presence and all of that. And when you're that level, you get to sort of like work with the director as opposed to like working for a director, which I'm sure was
Mhm.
something that was like kind of a challenge for him.
What I love about that scene too, like, you're expecting like, at that from their previous conversation, the last scene they had together, like, you started the wide and you pushed in, and you said, like, the editing there, it's, like, actually, like, a really bad conversation, and then they just push back out again, and then she just leaves the
Yeah.
conversation. You're expecting it to be, like, a normal conversation, but it's like, "Oh, this guy's an asshole."
Yeah,
Like,
for no reason. Being
for
very
no reason at
unreasonable.
all.
Yeah. Also, like you just get to that's like the ultimate form of manspreading where he's just like, this entire massive lobby is my space and you
Yeah.
can't come in here.
Leave it. Yeah, leave
Yeah.
it. Yeah, now it's Thursday and there's snow on the ground. Here's your another famous, like, meme or gif right here.
Yeah. That's like the me on Monday morning, you
Yeah.
know, looking at my inbox.
Dude, his, like his face, like, imagine if you were like, "Alright, you're just gonna be staring out the window and, like, it's just you're basically starting to go insane. Okay." He just, like, does that face, I'd be like
Yeah.
you zoom in, I'd be like, "Holy shit." That was
Imagine
good.
having
I
to
don't need
do
another
like
one.
having to
Like
do like 80 takes of that. He's just like, dude, like how do you want me to look? I feel like I look insane enough already. How
he's
could I
probably
do
like,
this
"More
another way?
insane." But I guess that's
Yeah.
like he wants like him probably saying that is gonna make him go insane. So like that's what
Yeah.
Kubrick wants. Which obviously you can't like do that stuff now on sets, but like back then they would do what they needed to do to get the takes. Other
Yeah.
than
Hollywood's
like
gone
obviously like
soft.
yeah, other than like crossing a line. But I mean some sets did cross lines, but
Yeah, I mean
yeah, I
Hitchcock
think
was, throwing like actual birds at what's her
yeah,
face.
Tippy Hendren, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean Hitchcock was obsessed with blonde women, so there's actually a book out called Hitchcock's Blondes.
He's yeah, another level of freak.
Just freaks, but you're like, these guys make fucking crazy movies. I love how
Yeah.
the interiors, like during the daytime, the windows are just always blown out.
I don't think that Stanley Kubrick hated women as much as I would argue that Hitchcock did.
Yeah.
Or at least didn't maybe Hitchcock didn't hate women, but definitely had a extremely troubling relationship with them. And I don't
Yeah.
know that I feel the same way about Kubrick and his movies. Um, but that might
Yeah.
just be
Like
wishful thinking.
Rear Window, it's just Grace Kelly just is like Jimmy Stewart, I'm really horny. Let's have sex. He's like, I can't. There's something going on outside. But
Yeah,
why
I
can't we
mean
have
that's
sex now? It's literally the
that's the
plot
best meme
of
ever. Yeah. It's like,
Screamer.
babe, I want you so bad. And he's like, shh, I
Yeah.
can't. I think there's a
Check
murder.
it. Jimmy, Grace Kelly is standing behind you. Like, what are you doing?
He's like, I don't know.
Like,
I think this guy killed his wife.
I don't know.
This is also a really interesting scene because she has like a really pleasant interaction with this guy.
Hmm.
And you can like see the longing in her face of
Yeah.
like, oh, I wish I had this within my own relationship.
Yeah. Even the blocking, like her looking that way to the right and him looking to the left, looks like they're actually talking to each other.
Yeah.
I think this is it, right? This is it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's coming right here. My favorite shot. Yep, here it is.
Oh, dude, the shot
Twister.
scares
The Twister shot.
scares the crap out of me. Didn't
Ugh.
the actor who played Danny didn't know that they were making like an extremely fucked up
Yeah, I
horror
think
movie? He just thought they were making like a family
a
drama.
drama. Yeah, I think they didn't want to like really like scare him.
Yeah, I mean, I think by all accounts, he like ended up being a fairly well-adjusted adult human, and
Yeah, I think this is the only thing he did. Was this?
yeah, it like didn't totally mess him up, which you know it could. The perfect placing of everything within
Seeing
that
what
murder
happened,
shot.
and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
like
they
that
were
chair
brutally murdered
is
with an axe. Like,
that chair
Jesus.
is placed too meticulously for that to just be
Yeah,
like a brutal murder scene. Like that is so Stanley Kubrick, and in a way, like kind of funny that he would frame it that perfectly
yeah,
with like the
and
axe laying perfectly, the two of them sprawled out, even like the way that the blood is splattered. It's just like it's
mhm.
too perfect to be a murder scene, so it almost like lightens the mood of it in a weird way.
Yeah. You don't see the twins again, right? That's the last time you see them, right?
After their that's really I've never thought about that, but I think you're right.
I think that's the last time you see them, which is interesting because I don't think I've ever noticed that either. I guess we'll find out
Yeah, that is super interesting.
Monday. What are they watching? This is what I also this shot too. How is this TV on? There's no cord. like, like and everyone's like, oh, it's behind the TV. It's like, but he
Yeah,
pans out and you see no cord.
and there's
Like,
nothing. Yeah.
there's nothing there. How is the
Whoops.
TV on? That's
Makes no
genius though.
sense.
It makes
Yeah.
no sense, but it like you're like the T how is the TV on?
There's definitely also readings of this movie that I haven't thought about too much, but I'm sure are out there about like the effects of TV on American family life or whatever.
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's that
especially in the
line,
50s and
yeah,
60s, like people are
and even
glued to
into
the
the
TV.
yeah, of just
Like I
like
still am. Like,
how it teaches us like how like the American sitcom like teaches us uh about like the versions of ourselves that we're supposed to be as family units or whatever
yeah.
from from Leave It to Beaver through the Cosby Show and like Family Matters and Family Ties and like All in the
Yeah, like
Family and
Full
the
House, yeah.
Jeffersons, Full House, Growing Pains, or
Boy
yeah,
Meets
like
World.
Boy Meets World, even up through like Modern Family, like all of these things
Yeah.
like are supposed to like teach us how to be um how
There's
to
always a lesson. There's always a lesson in
exist
those sitcoms.
as an American family unit, and this movie is very much so, or not very much so,
Mhm.
but like can be read as being about like the breakdown of the American family unit, despite Danny learning from TV how to keep it together.
Yeah. Wearing a
I'm
Mickey Mouse
theorizing
shirt.
out loud in real time, so it might not make any sense, but uh,
Dice. I still watch TV all the time, obviously, but and growing up I did, and I would get yelled at to go outside. But then when I got a job in Hollywood, I was like, "Hey, see, it
all
pays
those
to
years
watch TV all day because all I
it
did in the
paid
interview was
off.
talk about." TV.
We're like, what's your experience? And you're like, well, listen here. I've got
Listen
20
here.
plus years of just watching nonstop TV for an alarming amount of hours per day.
You'd be very surprised, actually, probably not very surprised about the amount of people that don't watch things that are in high up positions in studios. That's all I'll say. But
We'll
here you
leave it
go.
at
Now,
that.
now Danny's coming into this scene as opposed to the last time we were in here through the mirror, and you could see the shot they had it. He was half in the mirror, but now he's like, you're like, this dude's losing it. Come
Yeah.
here, Danny. Like Jesus. I wonder how old Jack was when he made this. So how old is he now?
Was he in like his 30s?
He is 87. This movie came out in 80. 80?
80. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was like in his early 40s,
Let's do the math. I'm really bad at math, so let's do it. What is that?
right? This was 40 plus years ago. So he was in like his late 30s, early 40s.
So
Um,
he was 43
okay.
or 42 when they filmed it,
We're,
probably.
yeah. I mean, it could have been, he could have even been 41 because
Yeah.
we know that Kubrick liked to take
Edit
his
for a long
time
time. Yeah.
with putting things together. But that was more so after this because I think what Clockwork Orange came out in the early 70s and then
71, I
Was
think.
like
Yeah.
Barry
75, I
Lyndon's
think.
like okay, so they're 5 years after that. Um Apparently, I don't know how true this is or if it's just like an urban legend, but I think part of the reason why he decided to make a horror movie was because that was like a really bankable sort of genre. And after he made Barry Lyndon, which was, this like beautiful masterpiece and like sprawling period piece epic and all this stuff, but like not many people saw it. And he was
Hmm.
like, whatever, I can just like get some coin back by making a horror movie because everyone loves that.
Yeah.
Um, and also like in a sense, he was like, I kind of made the movie that I wanted to make in Barry Lyndon. Like that was always like kind of like a passion y project for him. So it was sort of like a one for me, one for them kind of
Hmm.
vibe. Even though this, I still would say that this is very much so one for him because
Yeah.
every Kubrick movie is one for him.
Yeah, I would say the only one that wasn't was probably Spartacus because he didn't. A lot of the producers stepped in on that because I know he doesn't like that movie, or he didn't. Obviously, he's not alive
Yeah, that
anymore.
was
But
the
I
last
know he
time
said
that
he
he,
did like let the studio like really interfere with his stuff.
well, I think
He's not a big. He's not a big
he came
fan.
in late.
Hmm.
It was already in production. And
And
then
Kirk
Kirk
Douglas was like,
Douglas was like, bring
come
in
in,
this dude. I
yeah,
worked with him on Paths of Glory. He's awesome. And then Kubrick was like, oh, wow, this is terrible. I'm never like working
yeah,
within the studio system again.
yeah. It was like
And,
way too studio for him.
and then after that, that's when you get what is the most insane run of any director with Strangelove into Space
See,
Odyssey,
see.
into Clockwork Orange, into Barry
Very
Lyndon,
good.
into
The
this,
Chef,
into
Full
Full
Metal
Metal
Jacket.
Jacket, into Eyes Wide Shut. I would
That's my
argue
shot.
that Full Metal Jacket is probably his weakest, but
And I guess he
that's
kind
just
of
me.
almost co-made was going to be like co-making AI with Spielberg.
Oh yeah,
I
and
think
then
he
he
has a
was like,
writing credit on that. I think he does.
yeah, but then he realized like, oh Spielberg, this is way better for you.
Yeah, because it's like he died before even the Eyes Wide Shut even premiered.
Yeah. And then I think the real passion project for him was the unmade Napoleon movie
Yeah,
that was like what he really wanted to make.
which I'm in. I still have yet to see Ridley Scott's Napoleon because I was waiting for the director's cut and I just haven't watched it yet because the director's cut just
Hmm.
came out. I'm curious to know how much of that of Stanley's stuff got in there because they were really good friends.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I'm
I think
curious to
Stanley
see.
Kubrick's version is still out
There is
there.
a script. There is a script somewhere apparently, and I think Warner Brothers has it.
And I think Spielberg like might be developing it soon or something. There may be talks of it like becoming
A
a
miniseries.
mini series. Yeah. But, you know, I don't know. This is the scene that really fucks me up.
Oh, with the old lady.
Yeah, I guess when Jack comes. Like the last like three times that I watched this movie, I legit close my eyes during that
Yeah.
scene because it messes me up too much.
And it's great too because like you see like Shelley Duvall is like actually keeping the hotel running, and
Dude, she's doing everything.
Jack's not doing dog shit. Like he's literally just not doing anything. Like
He's useless, you know?
literally, it's like
Which,
men suck. Like literally, men suck.
yeah, he's like destroying his family, but telling them that they have to like be there to serve him
Yeah,
so that he
yeah,
can do whatever work it is that he needs to
yeah,
do. But really, she's the one
doing
who's
everything.
keeping everything up to snuff.
Yeah,
And he's just he's
he's
literally
drunk,
drooling on
passed
himself.
out. That's comfortable.
like like this is the story of the American family unit in like the 50s and 60s
Yeah,
of a
I
time when
gotta.
we were like told that everything was like amazing and perfect and like
Yeah,
really was just like a bunch of like shitty dudes like Jack.
yeah, yeah. I gotta send you that trailer. It's so funny. The spoof trailer.
He's like a little literal drooling babbling fool.
Yeah. This is like the rest. This is the outfit he wears for the rest of the movie, I think.
Yeah. There is a lot of interesting stuff with costuming that I am not nearly smart enough to break down, but like a lot with like greens versus like red and blues and sort of
Mm-hmm.
like I think Jack was
Like
mostly wearing
opposites. They're
red and blue
opposites of each
or
other.
wearing green
Yeah.
before and now they've swapped.
Yeah, because he had the green. He had a green suit on
Yeah.
when he came in at the hotel.
I don't know what any of it means, but I'm sure there's something.
It could be on the nose a bit. Now he's red. He's evil. So
Yeah.
put a red jacket on him, please.
Works
Sometimes it
for
is that
me.
simple. Sometimes it is that simple. Or
Yeah.
he walked in and Kubrick was like, "Looks good. I like it."
Yeah. Yeah, it could be that we like, sometimes ascribe meaning to things that don't actually mean anything.
Yeah.
That's the joy of being a film fan.
And then here's your abuse of children.
Hmm.
Danny's not playing in his room.
Oof. Danny was playing in the wrong room.
Have you ever seen Three Women with Shelley Duvall and Sissy Spacek?
No, I've not. Is that De Palma or my
Robert Altman.
ah,
It's
of
really good.
course.
It was before this. She's fantastic in it.
I've heard good things.
It's on Criterion. I don't know if it might be out of print. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think so. And his reaction shot right here.
That's
Dude, like,
another reaction
yeah,
meme of like me coming, like me looking at my inbox after a
yeah.
week vacation or
Me
something.
looking at my bank account on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Me at the blackjack table at 5 a.m.
I'm 10 grand down, but I'll make it back. Yeah, because
Your
Danny
boys
has
are like, yo, are you gonna make it to
kids
brunch? And you're just like, I don't know.
on. Yeah. You're hungover, but still drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he uses the dissolves a lot in this.
Yeah.
Even this, like him just walk. This dude, this is psycho.
It's insane.
This is when he walks into the party, right?
Oh yeah.
This is me after like when you come home, like arguing with somebody, but he really wanted to say, and you're like, fucking
Yeah.
shit. Like, I guess it's not the party yet. This is when he sees. the
This is when he
bartender.
sees the bartender.
Yeah, just the music, like it's kind of like 2001's music, but it's just like more screechy.
Yeah, it's so alarming. You're just the whole
It's just
thing.
yeah, it's like unnerving. You're just like, ugh, like what is this?
Yeah,
I don't like to be
so,
here. Like you said,
so
it's like
uneasy.
every turn of the corner is like something could just happen with
Hmm.
that type of music.
That was very 2001-y. That little
Yeah.
those two notes.
I assume you've seen Doctor Sleep.
I have with my
They use
girl.
pretty good recreation of all of this.
Yeah, it's a good like balancing of being like kind of fan servicey and being true to the novel version and the film
Hmm.
version, but also like, you know, not being too fan
Not
servicey in like
rewrite not
one regard.
like not rewriting this or something.
Yeah.
And obviously, I know a lot of people have problems with Ready Player One, but that Shining sequence is incredible when they go into the Shining in Ready Player
Oh, I forgot about that. You know, Pat, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, but that's just me.
One. Like, say what you want about the movie, but that in Shining sequence is pretty damn well done. The way they get the Overlook Hotel to look exactly the same.
Hmm.
Actually, Spielberg didn't like this movie the first time he watched this.
Yeah, what does that guy know?
And then I think Kubrick was like he told Stanley, and he goes, Stanley just said, watch it again. So I watched it again, and I thought it was incredible. Like, imagine just being able to like call like directors like that. Like I'm gonna call Steven right now.
Yeah.
Like,
Hey,
hey
what do you think
man,
of my movie?
what's up? Hey man, what's up? He's like, what's up? Like, did you watch my movie? Yeah, it was all right. You're all right. He's hang the phone up. Like, Greta Gerwig now sends Spielberg all of her first cuts. Like a sense,
Nice.
um, because he like I think he came up to her at a party and because after Lady Bird and like because he's
Hmm.
like I loved Lady Bird and then she like was talking to him like um that she was gonna make Little Women and she was gonna shoot it digital and then he was like come to my house and like he like came to her house and like he was like showing her stuff and he made her like smell a film canister and he's like why would you shoot a period piece digitally
Hmm.
you need to shoot this on film. So and then she just ever since then she's just like she just sends him her first cuts. She's like, I sent him the first cut of Little Women. It was like 3 hours long, and he gave all his notes.
That's awesome.
Like, and I think she sent him like the first copy of cut of Barbie as well.
It's
It's
amazing.
like, damn, imagine being able to like,
Must be
hey,
nice.
I sent you a cut. Can you take a look? Like to Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg. Like, yeah, I got you. I know people are giving flack for Spielberg this summer because of the twisters cutting out the
Oh
kissing scene.
yeah. I still haven't seen it,
I mean,
but
it's fun.
Glenn Powell's hot, you know.
Yeah, I mean Daisy Edgar Jones. Oof, oof, oof.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No Rebecca Ferguson. My girl in Doctor Sleep.
And it's just like anytime Haley Steinfeld posts a photo, just Josh Allen, I hate you.
Nice. We really are hitting everything. We're
We're
just
hitting
yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Just a really horny detour in the middle of The Shining, you know.
In this middle of this alcoholic becoming an alcoholic again, we're we're talking about women.
Yeah.
Just, I think a lot of people use that as their like Twitter profile picture
The shot of Lloyd.
of just Lloyd just standing there. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's great too because it's like when he leans his head down, he pulls up and he goes, "Oh," and he smiles. Hello, Lloyd. Like you already know. Like you're like, how the hell does he know Lloyd? Like what? What is going on? Like,
Yeah.
I remember the first time I watched this, I was just like, I don't, what is going on right now? Like, I have no idea what is going on.
He's been fully unlocked.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really like very insightful scene into the Jack character. And
This is basically his alcoholism, like in how he like thinks, essentially.
yeah, and also if you're looking at the movie as like a takedown or commentary at the bare minimum of the patriarchy and like what it does to families, like that scene is just like a look into sort of like the head and psyche of men who operate within the system and like how they feel that it should work for them despite
Hmm.
the bad things that they do to their family, right? Like there's no like
Hmm.
remorse for him from him in roughing up his son. He's just like, you know, this is why I did it. And it's a shame that, they still hold that over my head as opposed to him being like genuinely sorry for, maybe hurting his son once.
Yeah. I love that his first line to her was, "Are you out of your fucking mind?"
Yeah.
Like, he's out of
He's
his
sitting
fucking mind.
he's sitting here talking to Ghost and he's like
Yeah,
he's
pretending to
like
essentially drink, like, like,
and he's like, you must be crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. That's gaslighting 101. Again, you know, we're doing full patriarchy here. So
Mhm.
gaslighting is certainly part of that.
Yeah.
If you want to read this movie as like a playbook on how to do patriarchy, I guess.
What a way to watch TV. Feet between the
Yeah,
TV
and
on the
what an
pillow.
amazing zoom out and then cut to another zoom out. Like that's nuts. No
Yeah.
one does that.
Cut to two straight cutouts of like two naked women posters.
Yeah. But even just the idea of like a scene that starts tight and then zooms out, and then you do a reverse and you start tight
Reversing.
again and then zoom out again. Like I don't think any filmmaker has ever done that in back-to-back shots.
And then you
And then
zoom
he
in
zooms
again.
in.
None of it makes any sense.
Like it's nuts. It's totally nuts.
This is The
Another
Shining.
great reaction gif right here.
Yeah. And he kind of makes his eyes like glossy in a way.
Yeah. This is like when you can't remember if you turn the stove off.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like far away from home. You're like, oh fuck, did I lock the door? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I locked the door. You can like see his contacts. Damn.
Yeah. That shot of Danny also freaks me the
Yeah.
fuck out.
Yeah. I wonder how you like are like directing him in that scene. Like you're gonna be shaking your head and like saliva is gonna be coming out.
Yeah, like just
Again,
pretend you're
like
having a seizure, little dude.
yeah. It's a family drama, don't worry about
Yeah. It's like how does this fit in again? Don't worry about
it.
it.
We'll fix it in the edit. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
I love that it's like you're doing the POV and you don't realize like you're about to be like this is Jack Nicholson's POV. Like you think it's their POV, like going into this room.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great shout. I never even realized that. Oh man. It's also like very alarming when you first watch this movie as like a 17-year-old boy and you're like, "Oh my God, cute naked girl in the bathtub, sick."
Yeah. This is
I
definitely one of
think
the movies where I first saw boobs. This and True Lies. I saw True Lies at my cousin's house, and my uncle made he like paused it. He's like, "All right, close your eyes," because he was gonna fast forward through the scene, and I
yeah.
like peeked. I was like, "Oh, I saw boobies." Like,
Now that I'm saying it out loud, I think part of the reason why I find the scene so disturbing is because the first time I watched it, I was so excited as a young boy to see a pretty naked lady on screen.
Like
And
he
then
is like, oh, like
and
his face, like
and then what happens is so jarring that it like
terrifying.
it terrifies you. And
Dude, his facial expressions are like, God.
maybe this is why I'm scared of
I mean, she's
beautiful
basically
women.
full on nudity right here. Like,
Yeah.
not just like you can see everything. His facial expressions, dude. If I was an actor, I'd be like, I model how to act off of Jack Nicholson's facial expressions in The Shining. Like, all right, she's walking towards you now, full on
Yeah.
naked,
Get
and he's
excited.
just like he's just looking at her like it's like she's like just a piece of meat. It's like, it's terrifying.
It's
And he's the
also
prey,
hilarious to think that like he was sent in here or he goes in here originally to see who may have been
abused.
messing with his
Yeah,
son, and he gets so distracted by a beautiful woman he like
yeah.
totally loses track of what he's supposed to be
It's
doing,
just
which is just
yeah.
like the most like dude thing to do.
It's like men are so easily manipulated.
Yeah, it's like, wait, I thought I came in here for something, but now I'm
Yeah,
distracted because boobs.
because boobs. I mean, boobs are pretty cool. I'm not
if
gonna
I had a
lie.
nickel if I had a nickel for every time I've had a plan derailed by boobs, whether it be exploring room 237 or something else, many times where I'm just totally derailed by my distraction from boobs.
Just starts to make it out there. Cut to,
Ah,
and you're like, oh, I wonder why she's not really doing anything.
yeah.
uh,
His
it's great about
reaction is
this movie.
so
It's
great.
like what's great about this is it's not like it's jump scare horror. Like you would
No,
expect, like
no.
the first time watching The Shining, like you're gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna like jump and be so scared watching this. Like maybe when Danny comes around the corner
Hmm.
with
Or
the
when
twins.
it's like those interspersed cuts of
Yeah,
the murder scene, but other than that, yeah, there
like
really
you're
aren't
just
any
this whole
jump
sequence. You're
scares.
just like, oh, like you're watching that. You're like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Yeah. It's also amazing because like that's the only scene that we get in room 237, and we like still don't really know like what it is
What
in
just happened?
particular about that room
Yeah,
that's like so messed up.
yeah, like what
Um
just happened in there? Like,
yeah. But doesn't Danny say that he's attacked by a guy?
I think so. I think that's supposed to be. It's implied that maybe Jack was in that room,
Or is it just like a room that brings to
or maybe
life
or maybe they
your
said someone
deepest, darkest
was
fears?
attacked by someone in the room. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe it is that room. Like you said, your deepest, darkest fears are in there. So, like, I guess Jack Nicholson's deepest, darkest fear is a woman turning into an old lady when he's making out with her.
Yeah.
That's his deepest, darkest fear.
That's mine. I don't know how I'm gonna go to the bathroom tonight. Oof.
Like, is your bathroom green tiles? Like,
Yeah.
that sucks.
No, it's not actually.
So my bathroom looks exactly like this.
Yeah. So weird that my entire apartment is designed after the
After
Overlook
the overlook,
Hotel.
just the bathroom though, nothing else.
Yeah. It's so weird that I have like the same carpeting in the hallways of my apartment building. Like, what's going on here?
I would if I had like a hotel, I would put carpet down like that just to fuck with people and have a room 237, but you can't open it. No, and you'd be
Yeah,
like, oh,
there's
no
no
one.
actual key there.
Yeah, or you'd be like, no one's allowed to stay in there.
I
Something
think
happened in there. You just say
the
that, just creep people out. Something happened in there.
the
We're not allowed to
hotel
go.
where they shot this, they I think they don't have a room 237, and like because this movie has such a deep
Yeah,
cult
because
following,
it's
people would
just the
like go out
exteriors,
there.
right? It's just the exteriors, right?
Yeah. So people would go and they'd be like, "Oh, we want to stay in room 237." And like the hotel
We
managers
don't
always
have
have to
one.
be like,
Yeah,
"It
we
doesn't
don't have one.
exist. That was just a
They
movie."
probably, yeah, they probably start now with, "Welcome to the hotel. We do not have a room 237. If you're here for that, you can leave now." Like,
Yeah.
so even if we
I'm pretty
did,
sure
it
it's in
wouldn't.
Utah,
I think
not
so. Yeah,
Colorado.
And it's like, even if we did, it's not going to look anything like it did in the movie because those were sets. So,
Yeah. They shot the exterior here and then they shot the interior somewhere else. Or maybe they did shoot the interior.
they
I don't
might have.
know.
I'm not. They. We could be wrong, but they could. It could have been a different like hotel, but
Yeah.
I'm not. I could be complete. I haven't watched the behind the scenes in a long time. I really need to
Yeah.
rewatch them.
I can't recall. That's not the information that people are coming to the commentary for.
Yeah. Wow. They
They
already
want to
put it out.
know
They're like,
they
these
want
are
to know which
lies. They shot
actors.
there. They're deleting the download. Like, 1 star.
They
They
want to
want.
know who we're horny for. Who in
Yeah. They
Hollywood.
they want to know what is Haley Steinfeld's next project.
Yeah.
Is it Ryan Coogler drama? I'm pretty sure she's gonna be a vampire. And you're damn right I'll be there day one.
Yeah, it does sound pretty rad.
I'm like, damn, I'll see her in her villain role.
Rad Rob.
Well, did you know that's murder spelled backwards?
Dude,
What?
no way.
No fucking way, dude.
No way.
I feel like because I just did the Conjuring on the podcast now. Um, the opening of that
Nice.
when it has like the Annabelle like short kind of like film that they do.
Mm-hmm.
It has Annabelle with like a red crayon that writes like that. So I wonder if that's just like a nod to like The Shining. Like the
Oh,
lettering
it's
kind of
gotta
looks
be.
like that. Like a red crayon, then crayon like falls out. Like, I mean, this is probably the pinnacle of like people that make horror movies. Like, oh, it's The Shining.
Yeah.
Like that's the pinnacle of horror.
At least like if you're
But
doing
horror
sort of
can
like
be, yeah.
supernaturally kind of like haunted house stuff.
Yeah. Like this is what horror can be. Like you can make anything that's happening in this house and you'll believe it just as long as you're on board for it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of the stuff that's happened, like none of it makes any sense. Where did Lloyd go? Like, you're like, where did Lloyd go?
Yeah. He was just
But at
seeing
this point, you're
ghosts,
like,
man.
oh, it's just a haunted hotel. Yeah, it's a haunted hotel.
Yeah.
All right. And like you said, people could be like, it's a movie about a haunted hotel. That's how I see it.
Yeah. You when
There
the
it is.
Phillies lose. Yeah.
Me when Philly sports stole. Fucking hell. All right, what's the next movie I'm watching now? Like, that's gonna
This
be
is when he
me.
goes to the party, right?
Yeah, I think this is the party now. I think he hears it
Yeah.
now.
With another insane bathroom scene
Yeah,
coming up.
the amount of red that's in it, like the red walls.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's just traveling through time, like while he's just walking around. Like, imagine coming
Yeah.
around again. Every time you come around a corner, you see something new. It's like, well, I haven't seen this before. What's going on down here? Like,
It's just none of it makes any sense. The whole movie. And then wow, what a cut back to Dick.
like you literally, that was what, 7 minutes ago. You forgot he was
Mm-hmm.
still on the phone, like like waiting for someone to get back to him.
Yeah. Yeah, right. We last saw him before Jack went into room 237. And then you
Yeah,
got the 237 scene, his scene with Wendy, and then him walking around the hotel. And then it cuts back to Dick.
cuts back to like normal life outside of the hotel. Like this is a normal
Mm-hmm.
conversation. Nothing's
But a
happening.
very
Like nothing
like
crazy is
stark
happening.
shot, right?
Yeah,
From like the light
he's like
and like
in
very bright
Florida.
rooms within the hotel, cutting back to Dick in this like,
He's in like
you know,
Florida, like retired, like vacation home for the
yeah.
winter. Yeah, here you go. I mean, this is a famous pan across this dolly shot. This is like a very old Hollywood shot to me.
It's amazing. And then into like an old Hollywood party.
Like a 1920s party. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about it too, it's like, look what he's wearing and they're all wearing it, but no one's looking at him. It'd be like if you
Yeah.
like everyone would be like, what the hell is this guy doing? What is that? Are those jeans? Like,
Those jeans. Oh,
this man's wearing
gross.
Levi's to the party.
Yeah.
Because his wife, you're telling me I could have worn Levi's to this? Like,
Those are working man pants. It's disgusting.
there's your Foreshadowing. It's good to be back, Lloyd.
Yeah. Should have had a bourbon on the rocks for this recording. Sounds pretty nice right now.
I love he's like dancing and eating like beer nuts. Like,
Yeah. And now he's got money in his wallet.
yeah, no charge. Because you own the hotel. I'd be like, all
You've
right,
always been the caretaker.
yeah. If I went to a bar and they're like, no charge here, I'd be like, all right, line 3 more up for me then, there, Lloyd.
Eh,
Like,
Even if you are at a ghost party.
yeah. I want to get drunk with some ghosts. It'd be fun. I'll go to an old Hollywood party, get drunk with some old Hollywood ghosts.
It doesn't sound bad. But also I don't know if
I love,
they'd fancy me too much.
yeah. So to me, they're like, this guy's kind of annoying. He just keeps talking about movies all the time.
This guy won't shut up. This guy won't shut up
Yeah.
about the New York Mets. We don't even know what that is. Is that even a team?
Oh, what kind of drink was that? Are you drinking like eggnog?
Yeah. Very strange. But they were like in champagne flutes. So,
Yeah.
but it's not mimosas.
Those are definitely probably like eggs like beaten together to make it just like look so like thick, this thick
Yeah.
liquid. See, he knows him too. They're like, what? How does he know everybody? Oh, here you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's also super interesting because you're going from this 1920s party to this extremely, extremely modern bathroom.
Yeah.
And it is again just like also the glasses are full now that we're in here again.
Hmm.
And this all just like continues to serve this vibe of disorientation where it's not like totally fully registering for you, but it is all there where everything
Hmm.
feels sort of like disconnected. And that adds to the unsettling kind of like nature of the movie.
This actor is in Clockwork Orange, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he's the dad. He's his dad. Clockwork Orange. He's also
that
in
sounds right.
Temple of Doom, I believe. Indiana Jones. Yeah, let me see. The Shining. Isn't Barry Lyndon.
Oh, nice.
Frequent Kubrick collaborator. Clockwork Orange. Yeah.
One of the few.
Worked with him 3 times. Yeah.
Jack does over the top so perfect.
Hmm.
It's amazing. He also has this weird thing where that I don't think a lot of actors have, where he's able to simultaneously sort of disappear into a role, but also very much so be different versions of himself in each role.
Hmm.
And I feel like most people are either like fully disappearing like Daniel Day-Lewis or whatever, or fully just different versions of themselves, like Christopher Walken or like Ryan Reynolds in like the worst possible example. But Jack is able to do both. And I guess like De Niro also kind of has some of that, but it
Yeah.
is like a very,
You
very
know.
sort of like unique talent to be able to have both of those things be true
Hmm.
in all of your acting performances.
It's almost like it's like these were movie stars. Like these guys, Jack Nicholson was a box office like draw. Oh, Jack Nicholson's in this movie. I'm gonna go watch that movie.
Hmm.
And now it's like there's so many actors. Like obviously there's a lot of actors back then, but there's so many avenues in how like in becoming an actor with streaming, amount of movies that are made. Like, there's really not. I think Anthony Mackie brought it up. Like, there's not like movie stars anymore. Yeah, there's stars, but there's no like movie star. Like, you're not going to see Robert Downey Jr., you're going to see Iron Man. Like,
Hmm.
you're going to see a character. Like, the idea of
Yeah.
like this, you had that Paul Newman, like Robert Redford, Jack Nicholson, Robert De Niro, like Meryl Streep. Like, these people were like, these is a movie star.
Yeah.
You don't have that now. Like Cary Grant, like back in the day, like those were movie stars. And you would say, I'm going to go see the new Cary Grant movie, not I'm going to go see the new Marvel movie.
No. Yeah, it's very much so.
It's very much shifted, which is like, and I think people like Glenn Powell can become a star, and like he is, and everyone's like, that's not a movie star name. And I'm like, have you got William Powell and Glenn Ford? He's literally a movie star. He has the most movie
Yeah.
star name I've ever seen, Glenn
I think
Powell.
he's the best shot that we have at
Like,
a
and you
new
have people
age
like,
of
yeah, like
movie stardom.
you definitely have the new age of stars like Florence Pugh, Timothy Chalamet, Zendaya.
Yeah,
But
Chalamet's got a little bit of it too, I think. I know
like
I feel like
you have
he's
that
more hit
presence,
or
but
miss.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, you have the presence, but it's like if you have like a Glenn Powell, like he could do rom coms. Now he's in Running Man remake. He was in Top Gun. Like, you can get this guy that has like, oh, people know who Glenn Powell is. Like, that's what movie stars
Yeah.
were.
I
And
think
there was a period for a while.
Chalamet's working towards it, right?
Yeah.
He's got like a bit
Like,
of
yeah, like
versatility.
Florence Pugh has that type of power. Margot Robbie, people know who that. Like, oh yeah, Margot Robbie. Like, I'll go see that. Like, you have a Gosling. People like there are movie stars in quotation still around, but it's not like it
Yeah.
was 20, 30 years ago. Like, I don't think people realize how big like George Clooney. George Clooney was a big movie star. Brad Pitt, massive movie star. And
Yeah.
like
Will Smith, Tom
they just had a movie come
Cruise.
out that
Yeah.
was just dumped on Apple TV. Like,
Yeah.
George Clooney and Brad Pitt. If you put that movie in 2002, that movie makes $300 million.
Yeah, just because they're in it
They're
being
in it.
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever
It's
heard the
like,
theory that Brad Pitt is a great character actor, but he is unfortunately stuck in the body and face of a beautiful A-list guy?
yeah. And also not like a very nice person outside of acting, but
No. But like a
yeah, it's
lot of
like,
his best work is in supporting roles, which is
yeah,
very
like the
funny.
Ocean's trilogy, he's like the supporting role in it. Like him and
Yeah.
Clooney share the top bill, but like he's kind of more of a supporting guy in it. It looks
Once
like he's
Upon a Time in
having fun.
Hollywood.
Yeah, he's
Amazing
having
as
fun.
in a
Yeah.
supporting role.
Just having fun.
Uh
Like Leo, another guy, forgot Leo. Like, he was a massive movie star, and like people still know Leonardo DiCaprio is, but like some of those movies, like they you see the box office, like this movie doesn't make a lot of money. Robert Downey Jr.
yeah,
outside of
he kind
Iron
of didn't.
Man has like the stuff he's been in have done like nothing. Like, people didn't watch the Sympathizer TV show that he was in, the
Yeah,
Doolittle
and I don't
movie
think anyone's
completely
going
bombed.
to no one's going to the theater for.
I guess Oppenheimer, but like he's a
That's more for
great role
Nolan,
in that.
right? People are
Yeah,
going for
that's people are going for Christopher Nolan, yeah. And Nolan's, to me, I brought this up as well, that he's established himself as in like in the long run, people say like, oh, Stanley Kubrick, Hitchcock. No one's put his name up there. People know who Christopher Nolan is.
ugh.
Like, that
I
barely
know you
watch
love Nolan,
movies.
but I'm
You
not a
don't
Nolan
agree with
guy at
this?
all.
You don't agree with this statement?
No, no, I think he definitely has that
Nolan's not like my like
cachet.
top. Like, Nolan's not Spielberg's the like that's my guy. But I'll say that Nolan has put his name. People like that I know that don't watch a lot of movies know who Christopher Nolan is. They don't know who like
Yeah,
Denny is. They don't know who Denny is. They don't know like they don't know the guy like Luca. They don't know who that is. They've seen
yeah,
Challengers, but they don't know that director. They know the name Christopher Nolan, and a lot of it is because of the Dark Knight trilogy.
yeah.
And like
Rad
that's,
Rob,
yeah, we went on a whole tangent of Hollywood again, but
a worthwhile tangent.
yeah, but it's interesting to like it's an interesting thing to like talk about because yeah, like ever since that like and like I watched a lot of superhero movies. It's not a knock to the superhero genre, but it's like effectively that killed the movie star because then you have movie characters that are the stars.
Hmm.
Like, again, like Margot Robbie's a big star, but people are probably going to see because it's Barbie. It's a Barbie movie.
Yeah, there aren't really like named actors who are
Yeah.
pulling people to
I think the last
movies
one
the way
might
that
be Tom Cruise is like the last movie star. And I know the last Mission Impossible didn't do very well, but it also came out at
no.
the same time as Oppenheimer and Barbie, so that didn't really help itself.
Hmm.
They should have pushed that for sure. But
Yeah, but
I
he
would
hasn't really
say
done much
he
outside of Mission Impossible recently, so
like
it's hard to
Top
know.
Gun. Top Gun made like a
Yeah.
billion. That's why it's like, is he still the last movie star? Like, is he
Yeah, but
still
if
a
Tom
bankable guy?
Cruise like turns around and decides to make like another great rom-com or,
Like another
dramatic
Jerry
movie,
Maguire or something. Yeah.
yeah, if he turns around and decides to make one of those next year, are people flocking to the theaters because
Yeah.
it's a new Tom Cruise movie? Or are they just going to be like, no, I'm just going to wait for the next Mission Impossible movie, which is again
Exactly.
like, okay, we just have like bankable franchises and stuff as opposed
Franchises. It's
to
IPs now. Yeah.
bankable
That'd be an
movie
interesting,
stars.
like,
Like
that'd
even
be an
like The
interesting thing to
Rock,
do.
like no one
Yeah.
is like The Rock like
I rank
could
for a
have
rock.
been
He was a high
a
school movie
bankable
star 2
movie
years ago
star, but I don't think people are going to the movies for The Rock.
for Black Adam. 2 years ago, he was
S-
the highest paid movie star. He made $100 million. He's getting paid $100 million. The Rock to star
Yeah,
in movies.
that dude fell off so hard.
Um,
So
but that'd be
Dick
an interesting
Halloran,
experiment,
he's
though.
coming back. And no, we're still too early for the Dick Halloran part. I'll hold it. I'll hold it for a
I think
sec.
he hasn't got on the plane yet.
No,
Um,
that's
but yeah, going back to that like thing, like it'd be interesting to do that. Tom Cruise, put him in a rom com. If it makes money, then maybe he's still a star. But if it
dude,
doesn't,
Dick is still
you
on
are
the
correct.
phone.
He's still on the phone. Yeah, he hasn't left this area. It's been like 3 hours.
He's still on the phone. My
Even the
thing with
phone's like so red too. Like, this is what you're
my
going into, dude.
my hope with Tom Cruise is that he in his late stages of his career, once he's like unable to do the insane Mission Impossible stunts, sort
Hmm.
of goes back to challenging himself by working with like
Like Paul
amazing,
Thomas
amazing
Anderson.
directors and
Yeah.
just like challenging himself like fully as an actor because I do think that he's able to reach some like pretty cool depths. 8 a.m. hilarious.
Yeah.
Um, able to reach some
Yeah.
like really cool depths as an actor. And if you look at like the list of directors who he's worked with, it's like every amazing name.
Yeah. He's
Spielberg,
worked with Kubrick. He's worked
Scorsese,
with Kubrick.
Kubrick, PTA, Brian De Palma, Ridley, and Tony Scott. Like the list of
Michael Mann.
amazing, yeah,
Like,
Michael
yeah.
Mann, the list of amazing directors that he's worked with is unmatched. Like he has worked with all of them. And now there's like a new
Mhm.
crop of people who he can work with, right? Like he can work with Nolan or Denis or Greta Gerwig or something. Like he hasn't been in a Fincher
And
movie. There's a lot of
imagine
cool.
Tom Cruise in a Greta Gerwig movie. Imagine him in the new Chronicles of Narnia. Tom
Yeah,
Cruise in
like
Chronicles of Narnia.
that would
Because
be
there's rumors he's
amazing.
going to be in Quentin's last movie, but I
Which
guess
I mean
it's
that
not
could have been
happening anymore.
amazing.
Yeah,
If Quentin Tarantino would just like get out of his own ass,
I
he
know. It's like,
could
bro,
make like some really
I
cool
think,
stuff.
like, I really think that Quentin is trying to be like Kubrick. Because how many Kubrick made, what, 12 movies? I think he's trying to be like that. Like, look at my
Hmm.
resume. Then you have like Spielberg and Scorsese, and Ridley Scott's writing Gladiator 3 right now. He's like, yeah, I'm like, he's like, I'm like 10 pages in. Like, he's like
Yeah.
80s, he's like 88 years old.
Yeah.
He's like, man,
Well,
they're
yeah,
finished.
Ridley Scott's like another level of insane. Clint Eastwood
It's
is
like,
like
and
104 still directing movies
yeah,
somehow.
dude, I'm not gonna lie. I know we're really going off The Shining right now, but that Juror Number 2 trailer, that's a pretty damn good trailer, man. That's
I
got me
haven't seen it.
interested. It's a pretty good trailer. And Clint, he knows how to put a trailer together. And he's another guy that's like, one take, yep, I'm going to bed. I'll see you guys later. That was good.
Yeah.
Let's go home. We're good to go. I gotta go eat some dinner. I'll be I'll be at home.
Yeah, got to go eat some supper. It's 4 p.m., guys.
He's like 96 years old.
Yeah, he's ancient. It's insane that he's still making movies.
Yeah, I think
Um,
Quentin has fallen into that. Like, I think he's really trying to be a Kubrick type of thing. Like Quentin's obviously a huge name. Everyone knows who Quentin. Again, everyone knows who Quentin Tarantino is. Like, I think he just wants to solidify. Like, I made 10 perfect movies in my mind,
Yeah.
and it's like I think you're putting too much pressure on yourself, man. Like,
He's in his own
I,
head.
I, I
Just
hate to say it,
if
dude. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood should have been your last movie. That should have been your swan song. Your
I
love to
think that
Hollywood.
movie I think that movie sucked.
Oh, that's like one of my favorite Tarantino movies. Because there's no
I think he's
plot.
just
It's
in
just
his
vibes. It's just vibes.
it's
There's no plot.
yeah, but it's bad vibes for me at least. I love a
For
hangout
you.
movie as much as the next guy, but like that's just like bad vibes
Oh,
the whole
I love
time.
that movie.
Um, so Dick Halloran, very, 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 very interesting character within this movie and within Kubrick's filmography and horror in general. So it's like not a major plot point, the fact that he is an African American fellow. But when you think about Kubrick and like his work in general, there aren't a whole lot of non-white characters,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of Dick
Yeah.
Halloran. And then you like think about like the horror genre, and there's a whole idea of like the magical Negro or the sacrificial Negro, which
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people do put Dick within to that box. But I think when you like watch everything that we've been watching with him up to this point, and like we'll continue to watch with him, is that his progression of like getting back into the story is so deliberate and insane that like I can't help but think that he's like there for something more than just being the magical Negro. Like he is on the phone for, you know, like 10 minutes trying to
Mm-hmm.
get in touch with the Overlook Hotel. He then decides to fly across the country from Florida to Denver. He then, from Denver, decides to rent a car to drive out to the Overlook Hotel. I think he then has to get into like a snowcat or something to
Yeah.
drive from like the end of the road to the actual hotel. Like this dude
Mm-hmm.
goes through insane lengths, and Kubrick shows every leg of the journey. Um, I don't know what it means, but it is like for me, there's like too much there for him to just be
Mm-hmm.
like thrown away as what would ultimately be like an insignificant character.
Yeah. Because as soon as he
With the
gets to the hotel, he's immediately killed.
yeah,
The
and
axe.
like if he were just going to be the sacrificial Negro character, like we wouldn't go through the phone calls, the plane
Mm-hmm.
ride, the drive up,
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
snow cat. Like we wouldn't go through all of that if it was just going to be like, okay, he shows up and like he's the black dude who we're killing off. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think that Kubrick is like making like a very distinct point about the relationship between, black and white Americans, the same way that he's making a point about the decaying of the American family, like with
Mm-hmm.
that Dick character. And I just find it like super interesting because again, like there aren't, with the exception of Full Metal Jacket, there are not non-white characters within Kubrick
Yeah.
movies. Um,
Maybe James Earl Jones and Strangelove. That's the only one I can think of
in
off the top of my
Strangelove,
head.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but like because I think so many of Kubrick's movies are about the ruling class and like how idiotic they are. It's not that he's like excluding black people or like non-white people because
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't like value them or their stories or whatever. It's just that like if you're telling stories about the ruling class, you're gonna like it's about white men, so you're gonna like have stories about white men and like showing how dumb they
Yeah.
are. But this is like one instance where he is able to include like a different sort of perspective or whatever, which
Mm-hmm.
again, I just like it's one character, but the fact that he can like represent so much within an overall filmography is like very, very, very fascinating to me.
Mm-hmm.
So there's my Dick Halloran rant. Right in time for all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I never really noticed that. Like he shows the entire leg of the journey. Again, then he immediately gets killed. But like you're saying, why would he show all of that if there's no like meaning behind it? And it's interesting because
Yeah,
it's
well,
like they he only interacts with the family once. Like he's doing all of this to go save a white family that he has no idea. Like he has no connection to them besides he can telepathically talk to Danny. Like,
yeah,
essentially. Like,
yeah. I mean, right, if you want to talk about in like terms of like the story of America at large, it could sort of be read as like like Black Americans go to all these like great lengths to help like uphold whatever
mm-hmm.
system of American society it is that we like try to aspire to, but then are so quickly to be screwed over by that same society and patriarchy in the Jack character that they are,
Yeah.
trying to help. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
Jack like doesn't even think twice. He's just like, boom,
Yeah.
done. You're dead.
And like
Like
Shelley Duvall and Danny would never do that. Like it's the difference. Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
That's him. That's
there's
again. That's
I
I've
think
never
there's
thought of
something
that.
there.
There is something there. All right, Stanley, we're gonna go to your grave and ask you some questions.
Yeah, we got some follow-up questions. Put me in the sequel to Room
Yeah.
237. Put me in Room 238, and I will
238.
give all of my
Right
rambling nonsense there, as
right
well
next
as
door.
yeah.
This is the scene. This is the best scene in the movie to me. Jack is insane in this scene. I don't know how he wasn't friggin' nominated for Best Actor of the Year. It's like Lady Bird. They just didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because I think
What did he
Spielberg even said, I don't know what Jack Nicholson was doing in that movie. It was so over the top. And that's what Kubrick was just like, yeah, dude, just watch it again. Then I watched it again. Jack Nicholson is brilliant in this. Like,
absolutely brilliant.
absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant in this.
Which dude, I get like so annoyed when people talk about like good acting performances, and like so much of what contemporary good acting is seen as is just like you play a famous
Crying,
person and you like mimic like their gait or
crying.
something.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not like an expressive art form.
Hmm.
That's just mimicking someone. That's
Yeah.
boring. That's dumb. That's lazy. What Jack is doing here in terms of like expressing things in like a really interesting, inventive way, like this is good acting. That's
Yeah.
what we should have people aspire to, not just
And I
like
think,
Daniel Day-Lewis like didn't live with electricity for 4 months to play Lincoln. Like whatever,
yeah,
he's a great actor, but that's not the only way to.
where it's like Daniel Day-Lewis and Last of the Mohicans refused to eat crafty food because he wanted to hunt for his own food in the woods. You're like, all right, Daniel, come, just eat the damn food over here.
Yeah.
Come on. Like,
And it's like, sure,
but
like
I'm,
that
I'm glad that
can
he's
I
like, yeah, it can work. Like, I'm glad like he actually played Lincoln. Like he was in character. It's like how people are method and they always are playing
Mhm.
assholes when they're like Jared Leto mailing like used condoms to his co-stars. I'd be like, bro, you ever email that shit to me again? Like, I'm never speaking to you. But like, it's nice to see Daniel Day Lewis was playing Abe Lincoln, and he was very nice. He just
He
was
was
Abe Lincoln.
chill.
Like,
Yeah.
but
But like that
I
doesn't
get
like
what you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah,
Going full method doesn't have to be the only way for us to like
yeah,
have good acting. Like something like what Jack is doing here is just as valuable as what Daniel Day-Lewis does, if not more. Like
yeah.
this is pushing
It's
the boundaries of like what the art form can be.
yeah, and I can see how some people could say this is over the top, but it's like that's what the point. He's doing that on purpose. Like this is the character that he's playing. Like
Yeah.
it's
We
over the
recently
top.
spoke about Scream on my show, and we were talking about the Matthew Lillard performance and
Mm,
how amazingly over the top it is, and it like really goes up to the line of being of like not working, right? Like it's too
mhm.
over the top, or it's too um I don't even know what the adjective would be, but
Exaggerated, I
it
guess.
yeah, too exaggerated or something like that. But it really goes up to that line and it never fully crosses it. And like
Hmm.
that is to me like that's brilliance. And that's exactly what
Hmm.
Jack is doing here.
Yeah,
And to
it's
think that this is maybe like his like 50th take.
I know, like doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like this expression, like his acting right here when he says "stop swinging the bat," like he just goes back to a normal voice for like 1 second, and you're
Yeah.
just like, Jesus, man. Because he's like delivering these lines. Some of this, it's like I'm gonna kill you, and I'm laughing while I'm saying it. I could see why he was
Yeah.
cast as a Joker.
Oh, 100%.
Like right here is when he like the music stops and he just goes, "Stop swinging the bat." Like he's just
Terrifying.
normal. Like it just stops swinging the bat. Like and then he just goes back to crazy again. It's like, oh, it's like I don't know how you watch that and be like, this guy is fucking good in this, man. And Shelley
Yeah.
Duvall.
She's crushing it right now.
Like the more I watch this, the more I realize how much Shelley Duvall is doing in this movie. I
You
love that
know, I
face
don't know
when
how
he
much of it
falls down the
is
stairs.
how much of that is from like actually being tormented on set, but she is truly communicating senses of terror or like a sense of terror
Hmm.
that is really, it's extremely apparent in the performance that she's giving. And I don't know how you can watch that and be like, yeah, that's bad acting.
Yeah, because I guess people could they say the same thing about her performance. It's over the top, unrealistic. It's like, did you watch the movie? Like people would just appear out of nowhere. There's two twins. We saw them dead on the ground. I haven't seen them since.
Yeah, like what
Like,
I don't understand what our obsession is with like getting like realism from our
resolution.
movies. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
people don't actually talk like that. Well, like,
Yeah.
okay, film is an expressive art form and it's not supposed to mirror real life and the way that we do
Yeah.
things. So
Like
like,
you're watching
yes,
a
Josh
movie.
Hartnett is not going to talk like a real person in Trap. And if
Yeah.
that's what you're looking for, then like go fucking talk to another real person and don't watch movies.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, and it's like at this point, like you know how M Night is going to write his movies. This is how M Night makes his movies. If you don't want to like watch that type of acting, then don't watch the movie. Like,
Yeah,
how many times you're gonna keep complaining about M Night's dialogue? Like you think he still like knows? Oh my! It's like it's just his dialogue. That's how he type. It's how he just writes his dialogue, and that's how he wants to direct his dialogue.
yeah.
Like,
It's like, right, like these are like choices that are made deliberately by artists in order
yeah.
to convey and express certain things, and it is not necessarily meant to reflect the way that a real person would act in a haunted hotel scenario. And if that's
Hmm.
what you're looking for, then go to a haunted hotel and record yourself doing that. If
Exactly.
you're okay with with a movie expressing certain emotions about how that might, play out within a story, then watch The Shining. Like,
Hmm.
I don't get it. I don't get why we are so obsessed with like this like sense of realism within our art. Like
Yeah.
it's not the point of it. It's not the point of art.
Hmm. Yeah. Kubrick's holding the camera below Jack Nicholson right now. On the behind the scenes, you can see him laying there.
Yeah,
Jack's
it's
standing
amazing.
over him. But yeah, getting back to your like the realism like this, it's like even these lighting choices, like everything they try to light now is like we have to have naturalistic, realistic lighting. It's like blow out like I want the whole room completely white. Blown out. I don't care. I want this lighting choice. It's like
Yeah.
it doesn't you can do whatever you want with it. Like why do you have
If
to like make it so realistic where again and it's people complain like I can't see it. It's like I understand that complaint. Sometimes it's like they're trying to be natural with their lighting and it doesn't look good. It doesn't look natural because you can't see anything. Like,
yeah. Like if you just want to like look at natural things, like go outside. I don't
yeah,
understand why you're watching movies. Like you
yeah,
understand that art is not supposed to be a one for one replication of the
yeah.
real world as we inhabit it.
It's like that's why you're watching a movie to A, escape the real world, or B, analyze the real world in a different
Yeah.
form. Like
Yeah.
for this shot right here, to probably get the light on his face, they're probably blasting a light behind him to get the light
Yeah.
reflecting so you could see his face. Again, not a natural light. Like it's like I don't care. I need to see his face. Like
That's not how people talk.
yeah.
Like, no shit. Also, like, you don't see Lloyd the bartender in an empty hotel, you know?
Like even the way like her choice of like her acting there of her running with the knife, it just like arm is flailing. Like it's very like, oh, I'm so like I don't know what to do. Like it's like
Yeah, it's perfect for like where the character is at this
yeah.
particular point in the movie and not necessarily, you know, the way that someone runs when they're
Mm.
running through the snow.
Like she's acting very old Hollywood to me. Like this is a very old Hollywood using the facial expressions, like that type of like physical acting like that, running around like
Hmm.
and that's why people are like, oh, it's 4 p.m. now. It's like again, people would be like at the time being like, ugh, they were doing this type of acting again. Like I thought we were
Yeah.
over this. Like this isn't acting anymore. It's like and I like listening to interviews, you see people like I really immerse myself in the character. It's like I always think of the Laurence Olivier to Dustin Hoffman like quote. Like you know that quote, right? I think it's not supposed to be taken like as an insult. But, like Dustin Hoffman was like, I really try to immerse myself. He's speaking to Laurence Olivier. I would try to
Hmm.
immerse myself in like becoming the character, acting like the character all the time, like on and off set while we're filming. And then Laurence Olivier just was like, dude, have you ever just tried just acting? Like and it wasn't supposed to be like an insult. It was just like a, "Hey, man,
Hmm.
like, you can do all of that and still, like, be a normal person. Like, you're just acting. You don't have to
Yeah.
fully immerse yourself eating like them." It's like, I understand, like, you'd be like, "Oh, I need to feel the character, figure it out." But at the same
Hmm.
time, it's like Laurence Olivier is one of the greatest actors of all time. If he's telling you, like, "Dude, you don't need to be a method actor to be an actor." And it's like,
It's the
again, I think he was probably trying to be like, "You don't need to be an asshole to be an actor." And like
yeah.
again, going back to the point of all method actors, they're only method when it's an asshole character. They're never nice.
No one's method to be
Like,
nice.
yeah,
It's the Succession like Brian Cox versus Jeremy Strong
yeah,
thing where Jeremy Strong
exactly.
is like full method, and in that scene where they're like spitting in the smoothie and stuff, like he's like, no, I have
Yeah,
to actually drink it. And Brian Cox is like, dude, you could just like show up and read your lines and
yeah, like go
like that
home
will
and
be
go to
chill
bed.
too.
Like,
Yeah. Like that is
I know. I love
also
how
really
Brian
good
Cox
acting.
just like he like shit on half the cast. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't understand that
It's all
method acting.
Brando's fault.
Read, yeah, read your damn lines. Like,
Brando Brando showed up in on the waterfront and he picked up that damn glove and
he said, I
and
gotta
then
be the
everyone was like
contender. I gotta
and then
been
everyone
some.
was like, I gotta do method acting now. And
Yeah,
now as audience members, we like don't know how to watch things that aren't method acting. We've
yeah.
become we've become sillier and sillier as audience members. Thanks a lot, Brando.
Thanks
Net
a
negative,
lot,
that guy.
Marlon. I think the door scene's coming up, but have you seen the behind the scenes of them about to shoot the door scene? And he's like, "All right,
Oh,
camera set." And like Jack Nicholson's like, he's like has the axe. He's like, he's like pretending to smash everything.
yeah.
He's like shaking his body, and he goes action, and he goes, and you just see, and it cuts to the frame, and you see him just step into the frame of the actual image, and you're just like, Jesus Christ,
It's nuts.
like,
And I think that's one of those moments where Shelley Duvall was like actually getting tormented and like
yeah,
her saying like Jack, what the fuck is like actually Shelley Duvall being like Jack Nicholson has gone fully
full
insane.
insane. And I think he kind of did. I think he said like it was just we were always shooting like at night through the night. I didn't know what time it was because the lights were always just blasted through the window, so you don't know if it's 3 a.m. You're shooting an 8 a.m. scene, supposed to be
Hmm.
8 a.m. Like you're just sleep deprived. But again,
Disorientation, man.
that goes again to like the a director being too method in his directing, the perfectionist.
Oh,
Sometimes it just some people don't like it.
interesting. The director being too method.
That's why some people like at this point, like if you're gonna work with like a David Fincher, like you're gonna be doing a lot of takes. Like you picking up the glass and drinking the water, and that's all you're doing. Well, you're going to be doing 55 takes of that. So be
Hmm.
prepared. Like, like it's
Yeah.
like you just have to
Does
know what you're
Fincher
signing up
storyboard?
for. I'm not sure. I think so. I would assume so. I know the Coens storyboard their entire movie. They've ever all their shots picked, already ready to go. They
Yeah.
just shoot it. Like they're ready to go.
I feel like that's very much so like in line with a director who's like fully auteur vision, like
Yeah.
we are going with my version of the story. And it's not like I'll
Mhm.
let you do a bunch of takes and we'll shoot for coverage and then like fix it in post, you know. Like Bong Joon-ho is he storyboarded all of Parasite and
Yeah.
the movie is very much so all the shots are set up
Like to
so
see
that
that.
it can follow said storyboard.
Hmm.
Um, to me, I've always like enjoyed movies like that more than just like, Ridley Scott being like, whatever, like set up 8,000 cameras and we'll do a couple takes and then like
I got my
paste
coverage.
whatever
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I'm 85 and I want to make
Yeah.
18 more movies before I die.
Yeah.
I guess at that point it becomes okay.
Hmm. But yeah, it's like it's by the time Tom Cruise like worked with Kubrick, like I'm sure he knows what he's getting into. Like you're not being like, oh, I didn't know this was gonna happen. Like,
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Tom Cruise started shooting, or maybe wrapped on shooting Eyes Wide Shut before he was approached by PTA for Magnolia. And those
mhm.
movies came out the same year.
Insane. I love this scene too. It's like he has the knife too. You're like, oh, is he gonna actually? Because he always like leaves Shelley Duvall in the frame. It's like, is he gonna
Hmm.
stab Shelley Duvall right now?
Yeah. While he's yelling murder. Also amazing
Yeah,
that she fell asleep. Like her husband
yeah.
is trying
Like,
to murder her. She's just
I gotta go take a
yeah,
nap real quick.
like, well, I'm pooped, man.
Yeah. Boom. I love those zooms. Like just pushing. Like they're so good. Here
Dude,
we
the way
go.
that the camera tracks the axe
I know.
is unbelievable.
Just
Like,
it's like the camera's swinging with you. It's so
yeah,
good.
it's absolutely insane.
So yeah, okay. We are now how much time is left? Towards 20 minutes left. In Twister, this was 10 minutes later. He was chopping down the doors.
I love she puts the knife in the sink.
Yeah.
Like that camera
Yeah, that,
move
that camera
is
is so like it's so smooth too.
it's so nuts to me how it's like almost like they have like a rig like string like strung to
Hmm.
the axe head and it's just following along with it.
Yeah. And here's your sitcom. Wendy, I'm home. Like, honey, I'm home.
Yeah.
Like I Love Lucy. Like literally.
When do you got some splaining to do?
Yeah. He's got like the limp now too. Like crazy.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was like right here. When he gets to the door, yeah, like the behind the scenes, they like splice it together. Him just like acting crazy, like
Hmm.
there's action, and he's like takes a deep breath and just steps into the frame, like right there, and you're just like,
Insane.
oh yeah,
This dude is locked in to like the most nuts zone of all
yeah.
time.
I think Shelley Duvall said like they originally had like a little like a thinner door for him to like break into it easy,
Hmm.
and like he just swung so hard the first time that the door
Just
just completely
shattered.
caved in. Yeah, and they're like, all right, we need some more like thicker doors. I think he broke like 45 or 40 or 50 doors.
Sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just like chopping down a door to have one of the most famous scenes in film history.
Yeah.
And then I think he improv the "Here's Johnny." This is literally Johnny
He
Carson. Just like
yeah,
what?
he
Like he's
did,
saying Johnny Carson stuff. It makes no sense.
but it's amazing. I have a
Yeah, this
friend
is
who's like pretty good at Photoshop, and he's photoshopped a few famous images from The Shining, including one of our other friends who's funnily enough named Jack, of him poking his head through the door.
"Here's Johnny." Yeah, Doctor Sleep
Like
does a
that
good
is like
job of
real
recreating
true
this.
terror on her face.
Yeah, hits the camera right there. The wood. Yeah, like if you like someone watching that now, like this now, would probably not get that reference. It's Johnny
Yeah.
Carson, like because
Johnny
like they
Carson hasn't been
watched Johnny
relevant
Carson at all.
like
It's like they
50
didn't watch
years.
him there. Yeah, it's like they weren't
Yeah.
watching him like late night there. Like,
Dick. Dick to the rescue.
yeah, I mean he's showing the whole. I never really realized like that aspect of it. Like he's showing this whole journey.
Yeah.
Damn, her eyes. She has like Eller Purnell has like her eyes. It's like really like wide eyed, but they're like
Hmm.
kind of like looks like they're kind of like pushed out a little bit,
Hmm. Yeah.
like very big eyes. I would say. I'm here.
Like anime eyes.
Yeah, like very big. Yeah, because you look at Jack Nicholson's eyes, like oh, those look like normal eyes. Like hers are very like big, and
Hmm.
you can like really see the ball of the eye, like
Yeah,
with her
like through the
eyes.
lid. It's like bursting through
Yeah,
her eyelid.
like Eller Purnell has like yeah, that's those same type of eyes. Like Emma Stone kind of has them
Ah.
too.
Dude,
See now
a
like Danny's
throwback
like,
to the last episode that we did. Spielberg
oh
based
yeah,
the
this
ending
is it.
of
Yeah,
Jurassic
I
Park
never,
off Danny hiding there.
damn, I never realized that. Wow,
It all comes full circle.
I never realized that. It's like the same thing. Yeah, and he's like trying to close it. It's like the same
Yeah.
thing. But
Come on,
like
you get
I
out
like
of
how
there, girl.
Danny's like full on like snapped out of it. Like he's like, oh shit, my dad's fucking crazy. I'm trying to get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, why bring this character back just to kill him?
Right. Yeah. Like if you're thinking about watching this movie for the first time, there's such an emphasis placed on every
You're
step of
thinking
Dick's
like he's
journey
gonna,
that you think
it's
that
like
like
he's
there's
gonna
going to
kill
be
him.
something, or at least like some sort of like dramatic like showdown
Confrontation.
between,
Yeah.
yeah, between the two of them. It's it's like a pretty genius thing to do, to
Hmm.
like create all of this expectation for this guy just for him to be killed right away. And
Hmm.
again, like there, to me there is like certainly deeper meaning to all of that, other than just like, you know, the horror movie trope of killing off
Yeah.
the black character first. Um, just because of the way that it's all set up.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I need to dive into the special features again. Maybe they discuss it in there or talk to like a Kubrick expert. I'm sure there's some
Yeah.
Kubrick experts out there. And
There are some like
have their take on this character and the meaning of it.
there are some like black film historians and like black horror film historians specifically who still like read this character as being a sacrificial Negro, but um
I guess
I
you could
feel
say
like
because at the
there's
very end he just immediately gets killed, and that's why they read it that way.
yeah, right.
Um,
Like he's there to like die so that Danny and Wendy can live is like one
yeah.
reading of it. But
Hmm.
I give Kubrick too much credit to think that would like he would allow his movie to fall into something that is like so easy and
Stereotypical,
otherwise kind of like, yeah, not like elementary, but
very just film 101 kind of horror.
yeah. Or like I
Because
think
I mean,
he's too
you have the
deliberate
edits
of a
there. You have the
filmmaker.
edits there with Danny screaming as he was just killed. It's almost like Danny just got killed.
this isn't a Friday the 13th sequel
Yeah,
where
yeah.
like
This is not part
okay,
eight. Not part eight.
the black dude
Jack goes
dies
to the
first
hotel.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
Jack goes to New York. Where
yeah.
like in one of those movies, the black guy dying first can definitely be read as like falling into um whatever troubling tropes there are about black people in horror movies, but
Hmm.
I just can't see that being the case in a movie
Hmm.
like this. I love the
Hmm.
way that she's running around here.
I know. Like even this lighting here, like look at all of the shadows. Like, but her, the lighting on her is still bright. Like you can still see her face. It's like this isn't natural lighting.
Yeah.
Like nowadays they'd have to have this. This needs to be natural. Like we don't need these shadows. This is very like noir looking right now. And then
Hmm.
this scene here too. Like let's just throw in. This makes no sense. Let's have.
Yeah.
Like, and then they just like.
Apparently these guys are in the book and it makes more sense if you've read the book. But
Mm,
I love these dudes,
push in, yeah.
That's that's definitely, everyone's looking for love like that.
Yeah, like it's her acting style. It's like it's not like everyone's like this is bad acting. It's like it's not. It's an acting style choice. Like she's
Hmm.
purposely acting this way.
Yeah. There in that scene where she's like going up the stairs, you will like often see on the internet like a shot by
Yeah.
shot comparison of that in Nosferatu. Um,
Hmm.
which is cool that like Kubrick is maybe doing like also referencing
Again, like
past
they're
movies, which
people are always referencing everything. Like I didn't put two and two. Like oh, it's Jurassic Park. Like he doesn't close it all the way. Like it's literally
yeah.
Jurassic Park. Like they're always people are always referencing stuff.
Hmm.
And it's not like if people consider that, it's like that's not stealing. It's like you're just referencing something that you're like, yeah, that was sick when they did
That
that.
was
I want to
sick.
put that
Yeah.
in my
I want to
movie.
do that here. I want to put
I'm
that in my
paying
dinosaur
homage to
movie.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm paying homage to like Spielberg's like I'm paying homage to my friend. Like I love The Shining, and I'm gonna put this little bit the same thing in The Shining, like in Jurassic
Yeah.
Park, which then on become one of the most famous films of all time. Like
Yeah.
how this Steadicam, dude. I mean, this movie is like so much Steadicam too. You
It's
can actually see
amazing.
the
It really
you can
like,
actually see the shadow of the right back there. You can see the Steadicam op shadow.
oh hell
Like,
yeah.
I'm not watching
I
this
feel
movie
like the
anymore. Turn it off. I saw a
trash.
shadow.
Movie's trash. Kubrick is a fraud. Guy doesn't know anything
And
about film. Never liked him anyway.
I'm sure people like this is so anticlimactic because he just freezes to death.
Oh, dude, it's the best smash cut. But we also
Yeah,
we
it
have a
is.
bit of time before because it has to cut back to Wendy because we haven't seen my favorite guy yet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the dudes, sucking each other off in the bulldog costumes. They're probably no, they're probably
second
they're third and fourth.
or
Second is
third and
Dick,
fourth.
and then this guy is number one. Where is he?
I think it's when she turns right here now.
Yeah. Oh, and she sees Dick.
She sees it. Yeah, like that close up of her with her going
Yeah.
like it's very silent film type of
Mm-hmm.
acting, like
Absolutely.
getting that emotion.
Yeah.
Here he is. Here he is.
This guy.
Yeah,
I
great
have a
fuck,
t-shirt.
isn't it?
I have a t-shirt with that dude on it, and whenever I wear it, I always expect people to know the reference,
The
and like
reference. They're
no
probably like, "What
one
the fuck
gets
are
it.
you wearing?"
They're just
Like,
like,
"What are you
what is
wearing?"
that? Like, why are you wearing a shirt with a dude's forehead split open? I'm just
Yeah,
like, great party, isn't it? Don't
great
you
party,
guys
isn't it?
know? You guys don't know?
Like, and then people will be like, "You watch too many movies, man."
Yeah,
Like,
like, dude, you're a freak.
yeah.
They're like, go touch grass.
Oh, like this lighting too. Uh, like there's no
Amazing.
moonlight isn't like that bright. Like, yeah, it's like I'm telling you, all of this her acting like is all silent film type of act. Like you have those medium close ups
Mm-hmm.
and you just react to this. Just you're terrified and just like you have to show all the emotion right there
Mm-hmm.
because
Instead of
you have
just
no
saying like,
dialogue.
I'm scared.
Yeah, or just screaming. Like it's better than to me than it's just like yeah, she screams a lot, but it's like after she screams, she's still terrified, and you have to have that facial expression where a lot of
Mm-hmm.
horror is just people scream immediately. And it's like yeah, it's a movie, but in reality, if you're actually really really scared, you make no sound. You just tense up because you get so scared. Like, and
Yeah.
that's actually how you're actually going to be scared. Like, have you ever been like really scared before? Like, someone scares you, you don't like scream. Like, you'll maybe scream a second later, but your first reaction is to just tense up and not go. Ugh.
Yeah.
You make like a weird sound because you're like,
Yeah.
like your whole body just tenses up.
And your face looks silly.
Yeah,
Red rum. Red rum.
and it's like, all right, now we're gonna drop a bunch of liquid out of this elevator. Again, look, this is all silent film right here. Just
Mm-hmm.
react to it. Cuts to the title card. Red rum.
Red rum the movie. I love how he's just like reduced to a grunting caveman at the
Yeah,
end.
it's like
This
yeah. He's like
like
he doesn't even make. He's like starts making sounds, just like
yeah,
like
it goes from like Danny to like "Dad," to just
yeah. It's like
uh,
it's like a again like a drunken man as he's blacking out, being like
yeah.
he's not even saying anything anymore.
Even his facial expression is just
It's like it's like yeah, it's like let's say it's like an old type of acting. It's an old Hollywood, old like Margot Robbie in Babylon. Like when you have to have all of those facial expressions, like you have to study silent film actors. Like, yeah, they didn't act as in like they're not speaking dialogue, but they had to say everything with their face. Like
mhm,
the
with
Passion
their
of Joan of
eyes.
Arc is the
Yeah,
most famous. Like she's saying everything with her eyes. Like, and that's what Shelley Duvall is doing in this. She's acting with her eyes.
it's
It's like
amazing
also
stuff.
where like who's powering this maze? Where is all this power coming from? Like with all of these lights.
The same place that's powering that TV that Danny was watching.
Exactly.
It's all shining, man.
It's
You might have said
Shining with Salisbury Hill playing in the background. Shining.
shining. And now we're about to get the greatest smash cut of all time.
Yeah.
Like absolutely incredible. Well, just like, so bonkers that,
He's like
that
a
the
fisheye lens
movie
there too.
just like ends like the way that it does
Yeah.
with the
It just
smash cut
ends.
and then
Yeah.
the the photo. And it's like, okay, there's no like real like resolution or like,
Yeah. I think that's probably why people were
falling action or
disappointed when
whatever.
critics were disappointed when it came out. It's like it just like ends and they're like, that's it. And again, that's going back to your point of everybody needs a resolution for everything that happened in the movie. And sometimes it's like there is no resolution, man. This is how it
Yeah.
is. Like
This is just
you
like
don't need
we told
everything
the
to be
story.
wrapped up in a bow. Yeah, everything needs to be wrapped up in a bow. Like they're not gonna kill. Like it's like that's the whole point. Like they're not gonna kill Jack. They're just trying to get away from him.
Yeah.
Like
But then we also don't need like a scene after of like the cops showing up and being like,
yeah,
okay,
and then be like, what
so like
happened
what
here?
happened
Like
here? Yeah.
yeah,
Or like them like 1 month later, like in their new home,
yeah,
like, oh, Danny, aren't we so happy together now? Isn't
yeah.
life like way better? You know,
You
like
got
no,
away
we
from
don't.
your father. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
we don't need
the
that.
audience just saw everything that just happened. We'll explain it to you again.
All we need is a shot of them driving away, the sound of Jack
Yes, yeah, he's
yelling
like he's not even
incoherently.
saying anything anymore.
Yeah. And he's like supposed to be this like intellectual, writer,
Yeah,
professor
writer
guy. And he has reduced himself to like the most caveman-esque form of man,
as they just drive away in their little
which
snowmobile thing.
at the end of the day, all dudes were dumb caveman brains
Hmm.
who will again be distracted by boobs in room 237. You know,
Boots.
that's this is me when I see boobs.
You're telling me there's boobs in room 237? I'm there. Let's go.
And then when they leave,
There
I
you
start
go.
grunting like a moron.
Oh, here you go. Here's your
Amazing.
just freezes to death. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and then we just get the back in the hotel and just final shot. Because then it's like everyone in the room is like, "Wait, he was a ghost? What happened?"
Yeah.
like he's always been there.
He's always been the caretaker.
As you play the New Year's ball music again.
That's yeah, man. That's it. We've always been here. The story, like all stories, it always repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the point of Jack's story. Jack
Yeah,
is
and it'll repeat itself again.
mm-hmm.
Just a
Jack
different
is every
person in a
man,
different area. Yep.
and every man is Jack.
Crazy. They do a good job
Absolutely
making
amazing.
everyone. I'm sure he's photoshopped into that, but because everyone
Yeah,
does look very, very 1920s in that. Yeah, he's
I
definitely
think they
photoshopped
just found a real photo and photoshopped him.
and added him in. Yeah, I
My
guess
my friend
pre-Photoshop.
who
Someone probably had to cut him out. Someone had to cut him
yeah,
out and paste him in there.
my friend who does Photoshop did a Photoshop of that picture with like all of our friends
That's
as
great.
like
Just
different people
inserting
in
them.
that
Yeah,
photo.
putting
Yeah.
them in there.
Very
Yeah, what a
funny.
way to
Like,
end it too. Overlook Hotel, 1921, July 4th. End film.
and that's it. Roll credits. You're just like,
Genius.
wait, what?
I think that was that. That was my first Kubrick movie. I think. Yeah. Damn. What a way to kick it off.
Hell yeah.
This podcast is hosted and edited by Pat Brennan. That's me, with intro and closing music by Patrick Baxter.